Trying to see if this is the right direction or if I need to flip it. Whoops. Nope. We don't want that. Got to see our hotel room for a moment. Don't worry, you weren't in that. Okay. How we doing? I'm here with Hastermind.
Hi everyone.
It's been probably almost exactly a year since our drunken stream at Origins last year.
I thought when I would come into the hotel, there'd be a sign with my picture that said "Do not admit," but I was pleasantly surprised that there wasn't.
And you may remember, although only members can see this stream, and there's a reason for that now. We had a New Year's Eve stream. Do you recall?
That? Yeah. I do remember that. That was New Year's Eve. That's right.
That was New Year's Eve. Do you know why that stream is no longer completely public? Members can see it, but nobody else.
Oh, what happened?
Do you remember a certain person we were talking about?
Yes.
Do you know his initials?
Yes.
ZS?
Yes. Oh, okay. Actually, there were two people.
Yeah.
That one, did ZS sniff this out? And
he must have a nose for this kind of stuff. ZS. That'd be Zach Sabbath, who's a piece of shit. You can't sue me over that, Zach. That's an opinion. Well, it's actually more like fact, but we'll call it opinion. But yeah, he was talking about he chimed in on the story you were telling. And he's like, that's all been debunked. I categorically refuse that. Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, and I will remind you, I have sued, 5 different people, into oblivion.
Fine. I officially retract whatever I may have seen. For the record, I retract it. But if he was bombed out of his mind, which maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, who is to say what story happened?
Yes, exactly.
But for the record, we'll say I just retract it.
Yes,
shall
yes.
we?
I was like, fine, Zach. I'm like, I will put this as members only. You win, and I would normally not give in to that, but when you have someone who is very litigious, I just didn't want to.
You don't need that stress in your life.
No, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. Like I said, it's not out to the general public now. But can you guys hear Hastermind? What did you do this time to offend the Sparkle Trolls? Nothing. Glad to see you guys here.
Who do we got? And can they hear me?
Yeah, you guys got to let us know. Can you hear? Yeah, people just roll in on these streams that aren't planned. Yeah. So, yeah, everybody can hear you.
All right, very good. I have a lot to say.
Yeah, I have a lot to say. We'll go in soft. Give people time. Absolutely. It usually takes people time.
Absolutely, go in soft.
Yeah. So we are at Origins. Womp womp.
Columbus, Ohio, behind you, although not the best view.
Yeah, not the best. We got
industrial buildings, an office part.
Industrial. Abbott.
Hi, Abbott.
I think that's chemicals, isn't it? Abbott.
I think so.
Abbott Labs.
Abbott Labs, right behind. Beautiful Abbott Labs. So, this is you're a volunteer, let's just say, at Origins. For how many years now?
Gosh, I have been involved with Origins since I think 2000, so probably 26 years. And I have had a, let's call it a leadership position for about 12 or 13. And I had an assistant leadership position for about 4 or 5. And then before that, I was just a drone. I am probably the second most tenured person at Origins for what I do at this point.
I'll have you know, we were supposed to maybe hook up earlier, and you told me where you're at. You're like, yeah, right around the corner at one of the hotels. You're working one of the tables. I went over there. 2 nice young ladies were sitting there, and I was looking around, and I go, "Is Hastermind here?" She looks around, and she looks behind her, and she goes, "No, I don't know where he is. He usually just sits back there in the corner." I gave a firm chuckle and said, "Don't worry about it.
Well,
track him down later.
there's a reason why I've been sitting back in the corner, and that is because I'm training some of them to take over my job, and they have to be able to understand how to do this job.
That's good. Yeah, throw him in the deep end of the pool. Let him sink or swim.
Yep.
I am
Because this is my last year. Unless something drastically changes, this is my final year.
Yeah. Maybe we can kind of softly get into that. How many we got here? All right, we got 20 now. All right, dope shirt. Oh yeah, everybody's like, we'll go with this first. Do you recognize the incident here on the shirt? On the shirt.
Well,
Remember that 1980s, mid 1980s.
Yeah.
No, the airport.
Yeah,
Gary
yeah,
Plush.
yeah,
Gary Plush.
Yeah.
On the phone, bam.
For some reason, I thought the guy with the gun was Condor. I was like, what? Because it looks kind of like Condor. I mean, kind of.
Yeah, Condor in a disguise.
Yeah.
No, that is the great Gary Plush. We always chuckle because after he shoots with great marksmanship the man who is raping his son, he goes to the trouble of hanging up the phone of the fake phone call he was having. He shoots him and then hangs up the phone and then Gary, why?
Yes.
So yeah, I always have this fear. I wore like not an overshirt, but just like a button down kind of unbuttoned. So you could kind of see this a little bit. And there were times when you could see a lot of it. In the vendor hall today at Origins. And I was looking at these miniatures and I noticed the girl who was selling these miniatures looked like for lack of a better word, a blue hair, or a green hair, I guess. And I saw her distinctly like staring at the shirt. And I quickly moved off. I always have this fear. Did you ever see Marathon Man?
Is it safe yet?
Yeah. Great movie. But do you remember the old lady at the end? Or was it the end? Maybe it was like the middle or something.
For whatever reason, it's just the dentist scenes that blazoned in my head.
But in one scene, there's an old lady who recognizes Ernst Zell on the street.
You!
Zell! I keep having that fear that not like I'm going to be like hounded by, autograph seekers or, fans or anything. I just have a fear that like that one person who's heard, from somebody and said, oh, that guy. I hate that guy.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be walking around and they're going to go, it's Double D! It's Double D! Stop him! That's why I carry that knife under my... All right, we have, oh my Lord. What's the matter with you guys? We have like 17 now. We got Steve Kennedy. Oh, Ryan. Are we sniping Haster for Double D-Con? Yes. Bring my planning. Hey, Ryan, I am sorry about tomorrow. I would normally cancel that game, but there's somebody from Erie in Mrs. D's game group who I kind of promised I would play with, so I couldn't easily get out of it. So my apologies. We'll get together soon, brother. We'll get together soon. Yeah, Sketchosaurus, Ryan, Steve. Let me do a little shout out here. Craig, what's up? Forgive my my horrible vision here. L. Kostler, Mike Davison. Thank you guys very, very much. All right, that's more like it. It's going up now.
Oh,
it's like the stock market. We're down.
Well,
we're
you
up.
did say 7, and it's not even.
I
7
know.
yet.
We wanted to start early. I don't want to stream over Black Lodge games. I think they may start at like 9:30. I don't even know if we'll go that long. Depends on how the beer and the conversation.
Yes.
We'll say we have a hard out by at least 9:30, probably before, but we'll see.
I think we can talk about a lot in about 2.5 hours.
All right. So first of all, as you know, on my show every Wednesday, we have a montage of lunacy.
Yeah.
Usually of blue-haired women, and regrettably. African Americans who are acting up. Now, it might have been like a month or two ago. We had a great time looking at a clip of this black waiter at a restaurant in North Carolina,
The Raleigh area.
the Raleigh area.
Big Cat was the restaurant.
Big Cat, yeah. Now, Hastermine may or may not be around the Raleigh area. And you texted me right after, and we're like, I'm going to Big Cat. I know where it is. I'm going to Big Cat.
So Big Cat is a relative. So by the time that video was shot.
Yeah. Now, let me reset it just real quick.
Sure.
This waiter, he's a black guy, and he was, as the kids say these days, chimping out a little bit. He was just going ballistic because they were firing him because he apparently was always late, and they wanted him to study to learn the menu, and he refused to do that on his own time. And that was a weird thing that he kept bringing up. Well, like, you want me to study on my own time?
And that menu is not complicated.
Yes.
I can probably recite to you at least a third of the items on that, because the menu is a little odd. Mm-hmm. This is not a normal menu. It's a little frou-frou.
Okay.
So it's like I ended up getting the chicken. Chicken. That was the most normal thing.
The chicken. Was it like a rotisserie or something?
No, it was a nice baked chicken. I mean, it was, whatever. And, you're cutting into the pieces and you're pulling the leg off the so they kind of give you this sort of put together chicken.
Making my mouth water.
Oh, it was very good. But it's aioli this and smeared on this for that. And so like I looked at everything and was like, well, I like this, but I don't want that on it. Now, you might say, you can always ask the chef to not. I don't like asking a chef to do it differently. He or she has put together this menu because this is, if I go to frickin', not that I'm going to go to Applebee's, but if I ever would go to an Applebee's and said, you know what, can you not put the guacamole on the hamburger? I got no problems with that.
Yeah.
That's not a chef, right? But when you go to these frou-frou restaurants, I feel like you should probably take the item as it is prepared.
I am 100% simpatico with that. Yeah, almost to a T. Yeah, if I'm going to a Jersey Mike's, don't put the mayo on the sub.
Sure.
These days means put double mayo on the sub because that's always what happens. Because nobody has any attention span. Everybody's just in their own world. As you saw with like those Brazilians. Did you see that the bungee cord?
Oh,
thing?
Yeah.
How do four people not just have the attention span to know what the fuck is going on? Like it's crazy. I told Mrs. D they should hang those guys from that bridge, like just as a lesson. Let this be a lesson to, not be so into your fucking phone or, TikTok or whatever that your brain is completely rotted that you will let someone die.
Right.
Anyway, so back to Big Cat.
Big Cat. So, the guy flipped out because I guess he knew he was going to get fired or written up or whatever. And it felt, if you recall, if your audience recalls from the video that you showed, he was going in for a fight and he got fired and he's recording the whole thing and he does not leave gracefully. Now, it seems that the crux of the conversation that he had with whoever was listening was that you should be paying me to learn the menu or whatever. Now, like I said, that menu was about like 3 apps, 6 or 7 entrees / salads, and a couple of desserts. That was it.
It's like a modern menu.
Yes,
just one
this
page,
was this was a frou-frou kind of specialty kind of thing, and I did not have much sympathy. Now, the desire to say, and I said to myself, I'm not going to say anything about the video, but I did say something about the video because our waitress was very nice to us. And eventually I said, we kind of saw we'll call it an advertisement for your place. And she's like, what? And I said, well, there was a guy who quit. And she goes, oh, yeah.
Immediately, they all know.
But this is not the first restaurant that apparently he had flipped out over similar things. He may or may not be a agitator who just gets himself on unemployment and I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not that. Maybe he's just a nut.
That's the legal side of your brain. We'll say talking, but
he could just be a nut.
He's a bum.
Yeah,
He's a lazy bum who doesn't want to work, and You know, there's too many of those in the world. Let me just look. Yes,
But-
smash like. Thank you, Craig. Yep.
Big Cat
Yes.
was pretty good. I just did not like the looks for my personal tastes of everything but the chicken. Now, my wife had something a little bit more adventurous, but I just wanted a steak or fish and chips or whatever. And being that it's North Carolina, you're going to get something with grits in it, and I don't like grits.
Yeah.
I'm anti-grit. I don't want.
I take a firm anti-grit platform.
Yes.
Yeah, for a restaurant not to have like a steak on it these days.
It did have a steak, but it was either done a certain way or there was something on it that I didn't want. I'm like, you know what? The chicken seems like the safest thing for me.
All right. Well, I'm glad it worked out. Back to Origins.
Yep.
What's our general view of? All right, so this is a convention that gets a lot of flack, rightfully so, I think. For being sympathetic to the blue hairs.
I can tell you why it is sympathetic, and I mean, maybe you'll have some. Ironically, maybe you'll have some sympathy for the sympatheticness to it, or maybe you will not. So, for those of you who do not understand what Origins is a not-for-profit convention that is put on by Gamma, and Gamma is the trade organization that is supposed to connect publishers with writers, with artists, retailers with publishers, and so on. So this is a trade organization. And Origins is their, they have two conventions. They've got a Gamma Trade Show, which for many years was out in Las Vegas, and I have worked Gamma Trade Show before. They've now moved it to Louisville or somewhere cheaper. And that was basically...
Probably funner in Vegas.
Yes, but crazy expensive. But the Gamma Trade Show is basically where all of the retailers show up to see what pitches the game industry has for board games, role-playing games, and so forth. So it was kind of fun to go through there and see, like, oh, here are the prototypes for these minis or the prototypes for this board game or whatever. And they want you to take orders. So the Games Workshop guys were, of course, there wanting you to pick up as many orders as possible. All right, so that's Gamma Trade Show. Origins is their game convention, all right? And they put this on, so it's not intended to make a profit. What you have to understand about Gamma is that it is done by a board of directors who are voted in and out constantly. So you have this constant churn of different ideas, different opinions, and if Double D, you were someone on the board of directors, you have a vision for what we should be doing over these 3 years, you might get voted out in 2 years and thus your vision is gone. So you have constant new views. Now, up to a few years ago, there were 4 or 5 constant board members, but there was a dramatic revolt, and that I won't bore you or your audience with this. It's an interesting story, but let's not get too sidetracked.
I remember you said the last, I guess, would it be the chairman that they had was a pretty nuts and bolts kind of guy?
So let's be very clear. The executive director of Gamma, not the board member, he is the guy or lady they hire to sort of oversee everything.
Okay.
That guy, I'm not afraid to use his name, John Ward, was very nuts and bolts.
Okay.
And John Ward, when I first met him, I freaking hated him. It took me about 2 or 3 years to be like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing, and he's saving Origins from bankruptcy court is what he's doing. And he was here. He was quite persnickety, but then they brought in a new guy who didn't know what he was doing. He knew all about charity work, and that's fine, but he knew nothing about games, nothing about the industry. And now they got rid of him probably in January, and there's a new guy who does have experience, but I really don't know much about him. He's probably fine for the role. I think he is making some very bad decisions, or he is allowing the board to enforce some really bad decisions.
Isn't the board pretty much a bunch of blue hairs now?
I mean, so there have been some Nicole Lindros was a board member several years ago.
Say no more. Say no more.
But at the same time, there were some dudes who I think you would have approved of. The late Brian Dalrymple, who was an absolute great stand-up guy. He owned Alligator Alley Games in Florida. He had a heart attack one day, and he was relatively young. And this guy was a board member. And then I remember the treasurer, Adam Witten, was a great guy. But those are like those core dudes. And then there are always some spots set aside for retailer spots. And you never know what kooky retailers get on. But there was a point, and again, I'll touch on why there was a revolt. I won't go into all the details. But the notion was, the impression from the retailers was that Gamma was bending over backwards to fellatiate the publishers, the designers, and so on. So they were getting all the attention while the retailers were left to rot. And they had a revolt and kicked out all those WotC-friendly, Hasbro-friendly. If you were too friendly to the big companies, they booted your ass out.
Oh, okay.
And then, I mean, it's like a French Revolution kind of situation. Vive the people.
Yeah.
Well, the people don't know how to run a show.
Yeah.
And things went downhill real fast. And, you know, now I can't tell you I stopped paying attention who's on the board, but you get some blue hairs, you get some fairly normal people. But, and here's to circle back to why Origins might be considered a blue hair convention. Most of the people who come to Origins come from relatively close by. So there's not a ton of 4 or 5 hour away people. There's some, obviously, but there's a whole lot of Columbus area people and the surrounding counties, maybe as far as Dayton and Cincinnati, and maybe as far as Cleveland and southern Michigan and parts of Kentucky and so on. But this group, if you look around and you pay close attention, the people at Origins, the attendees, are a lower socioeconomic class than Gen Con, because Origins is cheaper.
This is true.
And I mean, I think the hotel and restaurant situation around here is just as bad as Indianapolis in the past few years. But you get a lot of people who just bum a ride and come in for the day and go home. And when you get that sort of, let's call it the community college crowd, that's what you get. And when you allow those people to dictate what your convention's going to be, but I assure you, Origins has a pretty hardcore historical miniatures wargaming presence. And if you want a hardcore experience, you need to sign up to do national security decision making. That is hardcore stuff. Are you interested in what that is? This
what is that?
National security decision making in SDM is this old, and this has been going on since Baltimore, where and I think it's the same dudes, these old codgers, they brought in some understudies, but that what they do is they create, so like you and 5 other people sign up for this thing, and the session they give you is this. And it might be like you're handed a geopolitical situation and you reenact that situation. So I've always wanted to play, but I was like, oh man, it'd be great to get the Bay of Pigs. I would probably be more likely to get like, a farmer wheat crisis of, but like if you were to play the Bay of Pigs, one person would play the White House, one person might play the CIA director, one person might play Fidel, one person might
Kremlin.
play Kremlin, and you might have one person to play the Washington Post. And you're not really playing that person, just you are representing those interests, and you kind of just get this scenario and you go into different, like a little bit like diplomacy.
That's cool.
And it is built by some Air Force dudes. I mean, every year, these are new scenarios every year. That's a hardcore experience.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do it, but again, I'm afraid of getting the wheat revolt as opposed to Bay of Pigs.
The wheat revolt. Yeah, because there are historic war games here. Warlord Games is here. In fact, I bought my Prussian commanders Epic battles. British, got Wellington there. And then the guy, he was so nice. He talked me into it. He's like, "Hey, we got farmers too. They can just be watching your battles.
They're gonna have a wheat revolt.
They're gonna have the wheat. Yeah, they're gonna petition Napoleon to save the wheat, fields of wheat."
But, is it a blue hair convention?
I mean, it's blue hair friendly because
All conventions, with rare exceptions, are blue hair friendly because you want that money.
yeah. And I will say it, I think, and maybe even you guys might see this tomorrow or Saturday or something, because I always do a little walkthrough just to let everybody in the audience who can't go, like, all right, here's sort of the way it is. There's just a lot of normies. I mean, guys that could be in your game group, if you didn't know any better.
There's a lot of families, too. There's
I
lots
will
of
say that. Yeah, there's a lot of
15-year-olds
families
with their parents, 7-year-olds with their parents. It is very family friendly.
Yes. Yeah. So I've said this about Gen Con before. There are just a lot of normies that come and, they don't pay attention to the shit that we all pay attention to. They're just, gaming. I like D&D. I play that once a month, and
Well, with Origins, you also get a huge amount of people who are what I call gamer adjacent. So what's a really popular game here is Werewolf. All right, are you a werewolf? Oh my gosh, everyone go to sleep. The werewolf kills somebody.
Blood on the clock
Blood
tower.
on the clock tower.
Yeah.
You get people who have no interest in D&D or Warhammer or anything like that, and they show up and they play that from dawn until midnight.
Yeah.
And it's usually like the 13-year-olds. I have seen entire relationships between the budding relationships between young men and young women form as they hang out all day for the whole weekend. And
they have a werewolf wedding.
yeah, werewolf wedding. And you get these people who are into these really niche interests. And Origins is the kind of place where you could walk up to someone and go, what role-playing games do you play? Huh? What? No, I don't do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of board games do you play? Well, my parents do Sorry and Yahtzee on Friday nights. But what are you into? I'm really into Pikachu, and I'm really into Werewolf, and you get tons of that, more so than Gen Con, or it tilts heavily, so you have that.
And it's a dividing line between any big convention, let's call it, and things like CNY Con, where I was at, last week, which
there's probably not as much Pikachu and Werewolf.
Right, yeah. It's like it's like everybody is role playing, from spouses to the attendees and all that stuff. I mean, it's just kind of that's just really the way it is.
Yeah.
So
but my bottom line is Origins wants to be inclusive in the capital I sense and in the lowercase I sense. They want to be inclusive because they want as many asses to come through those turnstiles every day as possible. They also want to be inclusive because, again, when your fan base, and the fan base of this industry tilts that way, especially the RPGs. I think board games is a little more towards the middle, and war games are very far towards the right.
Right.
But when you have a constituency that demands, safe spaces or whatever else, the convention's going to comply to that. They have to, because otherwise
or drag shows, which is going to be going on here. I guess
I am supposed to know a lot of events that go on here. I'm not saying your guy's not telling you the truth. I have not heard of a drag show, an official
one. Yeah, maybe.
There very well could be. But.
Walking around the vendor hall, it seemed at first I was like, oh, maybe there's less here. But then I was starting to find, like, Free League has their booth here.
Oh, really? I haven't been to the dealer hall yet.
Yeah, they're just kind of up against as you're walking into it, they're in the far left wall.
Something Origins does do, which everyone should appreciate, and I think this is admirable by the Gamma board, is that they have an entire row or two of Entrepreneurs Alley, and those are booths that are sold for like $200. If it's your first time ever attending, they will give you a dirt cheap booth to help you launch whatever game or project or product. So you see some real crackpot stuff there.
Yes. Yeah.
And it is a lot of fun to go, what? This guy built a chicken bucket game? Holy shit. Or you get a lot of Bible games that show up and it's like, oh dude, your agent sold you a bill of goods.
Yeah, this isn't your
this isn't your audience.
This isn't your audience.
Bible
here.
trivia.
Yeah, that's probably not gonna. Yeah, but yeah, I did notice that. Yeah, there was some, and that, like you said, that's to be commended.
That's what they should be doing as a trade organization. So I'm glad to see them do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And basically, you go into the open play area, and it's just all it is just a shitload of people playing board games for the most part. All right, hold on. I got a super chat here.
Oh, good. Super chats.
James, I'm doing this mobile, so I'll do my Marisha Ray imitation. Like I always say, when the lanterns are lit, so are the tits.
So are the tits.
She's my cherry.
A succulent Chinese meal.
A meal? A succulent Chinese meal.
Today.
This is Wild with the volume down, and in every dream home a heartache playing. Why do you got the volume down? James, turn the volume up.
Crank it up, man.
Turn it up, dude. I didn't miss any other, did I? No. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm just bullshitting with my buddy. Now, I'm going to show these guys. All right, so we got over 50 here now. So,
50's good.
yeah, so can you set that on the
Yeah,
camera?
sure.
Thanks. All right, so you
Dead soldier.
Yeah, dead soldier. So you have another, we'll just say, relationship with the Ennies where you come across certain things.
I have a relationship with a lot of different awards programs.
Yes, yeah.
So if there's an awards program, and again, to keep things sort of nebulous, I understand and know a lot of different awards programs. So like, for instance, the Origins Awards, I could talk to you about that. The crits, do you remember the crits?
No, what were the crits?
Let's move on and talk about the crits shortly.
Okay.
I'm sure you remember them. They got in trouble last year for their anti-Zionist position or their...
Oh, yes, I do know the crits now. Yeah,
So-
got... And was that Origins that pulled the plug on them?
Gen Con.
Gen Con did, okay. Yeah,
So I know about
Gen
the
Con,
crits.
yep.
I know about the Origins Awards. Like if your audience has questions about how the Origins Awards works, I can answer that. How the Ennies Awards works, I can answer that. How the Crit Awards work, I can answer that. So yes, I'm able to get a hold of certain things through channels.
He's like, remember Kelly's Heroes? He's kind of like Crap Game, like Don Rickles. Or he's the guy in prison that you always go to, like, hey, I need a radio and, a carton of cigarettes, and this man will produce. Well,
this may have come from the Origins Awards.
Origins, okay, Origins, okay. Outcast Silver Raiders.
Now, what you're looking at here, it is available for people to buy, but you have the out of print version that came out. They didn't make too many copies of this. Outcast Silver Raiders is probably the gold standard of niche OSR, fandom here. This is hardcore OSR stuff.
This book is intended for an adult audience. Was ZS? Did he have anything to do with this?
No.
Okay.
I think these guys are Scottish.
Okay.
Or I know the game has kind of a Scots default setting.
Looks on the face of it looks pretty darn cool, and you were kind enough to sell it to me for a song, we shall say.
Yes.
So thank you very much. You could have gotten a lot for this on eBay, but he said, "Hey, Double D, do you want this? This looks pretty cool, right up your alley." There are little standees here too. Looks like cards.
Show the size of that box. Now,
It's a thick box.
what the copy that you would get today is half of that size. I think these are all softbacks. But yeah, Outcast Silver Raiders. That is a gold standard. Now, I liked it. I liked reading it. I don't know if it's for me because it is a little like hardcore human centric. I don't think elves and dwarves exist. And I'm the kind of guy that likes a little bit of crazy fantasy. I want to see some beholders. I want to see some goblins. I want to see some crazy
some
undead.
twinkery.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to see a little twinkery.
No, I don't want to see a beholder as a player, but I want to know this is the kind of world where beholders could exist.
This I am looking forward to. Like, ooh, baby. So thank you again. Yeah, we may even talked about this last time. Like, you're a little more laissez-faire.
So it comes
as far as races go.
Well, it's not just races, and I suppose that you can look at it this way and say, you can walk up to any, let's just call him a D&D player, or even a fantasy player, and you can say, what is fantasy? And there's a bunch of answers that you can get that I don't think any of them are necessarily wrong. It depends on the kind of game that you want to play. Tolkien is radically different than Conan, which is radically different from Elric, which is radically different from the D&D cartoon. I would be happy to play in 3 of the 4 of those. Tolkien, I think Tolkien's a little boring for play purposes because there's not as much crazy stuff going on, but I think that there's no wrong kind of fantasy setup because as a dear friend of mine who is very old school, it might surprise you to say this old school guy wants to play the craziest race that he can possibly play because he's played all the others over the years. He wants to play a Warforged or a Changeling or whatever because it's something different. And I absolutely respect that position. But as I was telling you earlier, when I run fantasy games, I do allow crazy races, but I have a Muppet rule. And that is, there can be no more than 2/3 Muppets in this party. I don't want to envision the party wandering into town.
2/3 or 1/3?
No more than 1/3.
No more than 1/3, yeah.
No more than 1/3. I don't want to envision Kermit and Fozzie and Gonzo rolling into town because I would think that a village of people would say, get these freaks out of here.
Drive them into the sea.
And dwarf is not a Muppet. Elf, not a Muppet.
As we were talking about that off air. And I believe we came to the conclusion that halflings would be grandfathered in only because of tradition. But if we were looking at them on the face of it now without any other context before, we sort of throw them in with the cat people.
But it also, I should tell you that the last time I played D&D, I played a Kinku, the Raven people, and it was a bit of a gag that, so the character shows up session 1 in a full Plague Doctor outfit. Oh my God, Plague Doctor guy. Surprise! It's an actual beak.
Classic bits,
Yeah, and I kind of pulled that stunt for about a year and a half. But again, I'm one of those people that I tend to play humans.
Yeah.
But I also feel that, like, people don't play elves right.
Yeah.
Well, who are you to say that? Yeah, you'd be fair to say who are you to say that. I get it. But that's what I'm saying. Fantasy is so different for so many people. And as long as you lay out what you are doing and everyone's okay with that, I got no problem with it.
Well, I mean, like Tolkien elves are a little faggy, but look like birthright elves are. You have to avoid them. They hate humans. They hunt humans. They don't like humans.
But I think both of those interpretations are perfectly fine for your fantasy setup.
I agree. All right, James, again, $10. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Whoops, come on, what are we doing? I don't want to. Made a vid today responding to some Double D chat stuff, and seemingly this exact conversation, spoilers, Hyperborea stuff, and humans are the only acceptable playable race. Look, here's the thing. When I make pre-gens, like for my my con games, it's Hyperborea and Dragon Slayer. It's 100% humans, and it's like I don't want anybody.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't think I would love that, but if that the game was, okay, fine. Well, I'll sign on to that.
Yeah,
Speaking of Hyperborea, I've been meaning to tell you, when Hyperborea first came out,
Mm-hmm.
I received a copy, and my copy is a box set with spiral, and there is like shredded paper inside. Mine is an old original copy. And I loved it.
You're gonna make James of the OSR cream his jeans here. He's a Hyperborea fanatic.
When I first read, and it was called whatever the original name was, Hyper Wizards or
Men and
yeah. It was a crazy name.
I forget the tagline, but yeah.
But I thought to myself, this is the best retro clone I have ever seen at that time.
I like it because it leans into all the pulp stuff.
Yes.
And it's not afraid to do the sci-fi either. And well, hold on one second. Let me read Rise here. Thank you, Ryan. But A Muppet's Christmas Carol is easily the best rendition. That movie is 3/4 Muppets. Well, point taken, my friend. Point taken. Yeah, I love, because I got to talk to Jeff Talanian, and great guy, talented guy. And I was just kind of blown away that it takes place not on Earth, but like it's in our solar system. You're essentially like floating around Saturn in the far future, because our sun has entered its red giant phase. And I always thought, like, man, that is so fucking cool.
And I think part of my position for the Muppet situation here is, if you were playing Star Wars, you wouldn't have much. You wouldn't blink about Wookiees running around and whatever Yoda is, those guys, or that little guy, or people are making all kinds of crazy races in Star Wars.
Do you know the female Yoda, the only other female?
Oh, Yaddle.
Yaddle. Yeah, very good. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, we'll give you credit. If it was Jeopardy, I'd give you credit. But they probably wouldn't. Yeah, Yoda and Yaddle. Yeah. I get that. Let me put it to you this way. I could easily be convinced, like for my pre-gens, to could you allow a dwarf in? Sure. Could you allow an elf in? Yeah. But you promise not to be a fruit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to lean into that. Okay. Halfling, you don't have to write me a page, but write me 3 lines why you should run a halfling at this game. And if I'm suitably impressed, it's all yours.
And I got no problem with that. Just as I have no problem with anyone's interpretation of how they want to run a fantasy game, because this is fantasy, for heaven's sake. But again, I think that it has to make a certain amount of consistency and sense.
There is a good YouTube channel. The authors who runs it, her name is Hillary Lane, and her channel is called The Second Story. And I love the channel.
I'll have to check her out.
She does a lot of literary criticisms, and one of the she did like a whole video on like Catcher in the Rye and its meanings and why it's been misinterpreted and all that stuff. Really had me looking at the book a different way. But she did one on fantasy, and she's like, "This is the reason we don't really get good or original fantasy." And she went into the Del Rey's, the Del Rey books, if you remember them.
You meant Lana Del Rey.
Lana Del Rey, yes. Got that summertime sadness going on. I don't know what their names were, but the people behind Del Rey basically had put out that if you are going to do a fantasy novel, it has to follow these beats. It has to have this, has to have the hero, has to have, black and white villain, blah, 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 blah. Basically, it has to be Tolkien light.
Yeah.
Which is why you get a lot of the stuff that you got. Like Shannara was the one that she keyed in on, how it's just almost like a straight rip, in theme of Lord of the Rings. Now, I've never read Shannara, so I don't know how true that is, but I'll take her word for it. But then she was saying, and she said, you're being deceived, because after that, all that had occurred, we started to get things like Moorcock, like Elric. And she said, you have to understand that all that is just a counter revolution to the status quo.
Sure,
It's-
Game of Thrones is fantasy, and there's no non-humans in that, really.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that it just fantasy had been stifled for a while. I think there are good. There are definitely good series now.
Having said that, I would pay money, pay actual dollars and cents to play in a game someone ran based upon like tour books, huge boobs, chains, loincloths. I mean, if it is, I mean, and audience, when I run a game, I run kind of some spooky stuff, but I also have a lot of Russ Meyer in me. A lot of Russ Meyer. There's going to be a lot of jiggling in games that I run, whether it's a fantasy
All the
game.
D-cups.
Except for Call of Cthulhu, I don't feel it's appropriate. I feel that it's somehow D-cups. Jesus Christ, that's like flat compared to
Triple D.
yeah. Double D.
When I was double D. When I was 18, I worked at Pizza Hut, and we had decided we were going to go up to Niagara Falls because 18 was the drinking age in Canada. I don't know if it still is. Maybe it is. So there was a club up there called the Min's, a strip club.
Oh,
Strip club. So it was weird because
now you're probably not old enough where West Virginia would have been an option to go drink, right?
no.
And West Virginia would have been a little far for
Yeah.
you, I guess.
Back in the day, now by the time I was
West Virginia was the last state to go above 18.
but New York was probably just before them because when like my brother and sister, they would always go over the border to New York to get served, and maybe they were 19 there or something. I don't know. They were. It was less than 21. But by the time we're talking late 80s. By the time that came along, everybody was 21. So, but we're like, aha, we are only 2 hours from Niagara Falls, Ontario. Back then it wasn't kind of overrun with a lot of riffraff.
Well, and there was also not a lot of necessity to get between the border.
Yeah,
like
true.
there is
Yeah,
today.
yeah. So we just said we were working our shift at Pizza Hut, and my boss and my buddy who I'd grown up with, he worked with me at Pizza Hut, and then someone else. We were just like, let's go up to the falls, let's see some titties. And so we did. So we got McDonald's, went up. I'll never forget my buddy Jeff. He was done. He was done with his McDonald's, and we're tearing up, I-90, and maybe it wasn't my buddy Jeff. Maybe it was my boss because he was kind of a jerk. We were wondering, like, all right, we got to throw this McDonald's stuff out when we get there. And it was my boss, and he goes, "What?" He rolls down the window and takes it all and just like, and I'm just like, what the fuck, No, I'm as far from like, like an eco terrorist as you're gonna get, but yeah, but I was just like, I was like, oh my god, like, why did you do that? I'm looking at the highway, like, all this McDonald's stuff is just exploding on the highway behind us. I'm sure there was an Indian with a tear.
Several tears.
Yeah, probably standing on the side of the road. I'm like, oh my god. But anyway, I soon forgot, because I was 18 and we were going to see boobies, and I ended up seeing and getting a picture, and this picture still exists. If I can find it.
Canadian Beaver?
I will show. No, it's two adult film actresses who I have never ever seen, either back then or since, or at least they claim they were. Maybe they were just strip club workers, but one was Bunny Glamazon.
Oh, I know who that is.
Yeah, she was taller than me.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
And then,
she was,
at least in heels. She was, and then Christine Cream was the other.
That one I don't know.
Yeah, she was.
That one I don't.
It was a tall and just a big buxom gal, and I was just like, between the two of them, tongue out, going, yeah. I can't possibly go any further higher than this.
I met Jenna Jameson a few times.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Recently?
No. I would have a court order to prevent that from happening. But Jenna looks a little rough.
Yeah. She was it back in the day. My God. Yeah, misspent youth a little bit.
Oh, indeed.
But yeah, I keep that picture around because my wife will just chuckle and roll her eyes whenever she sees it. Yep, go ahead. Let me see what you guys are saying. You can serve alcohol at 18 years old if you have smart serve and drinking age is 19. Okay. Is that up in Canada? Coliseum of Comics. What are we talking about? What are we talking about here? Everybody loves the shirt. Saint Gary Plushé. I'm glad you guys are having a good time. How you doing, Jeff? I see you there. Bad News Bards. Yeah, sorry, I'm just the phone's a little too far away for me to continually monitor the chat, so I know you guys will behave. Jim Holloway art.
What's this about Jim Holloway art?
Shannara almost Halba. I don't know what that is in reference to. Jim Holloway. Nice. Okay. All right, guys. I got to go back. Hastermind made it back safely from the bathroom.
So,
all right.
Go ahead.
What were we talking about? We were talking about you running games with double D's.
Well, yeah. So there is something that I should mention to you that I mentioned that I would pay money to play in a tour game. I heard that you have recently joined a Supers game.
Yes.
I last week started session 1 of a Supers game. Now,
nice.
You are playing in Gotham City, is that right?
We are.
I would absolutely die to do that. I mean, Batman and the Batman villains, that's my jam.
Yes.
One of my favorite movies of all time is Tim Burton's 1989 Batman.
The original, yeah.
I have seen that movie probably more times than anything else I've ever seen.
Still works.
Oh, absolutely.
Still holds up. I saw it like at least 3 times in the theater.
Oh, yeah. It was spectacular.
It was fucking awesome.
But what system are you using? I thought I heard you say it, and I think I have that, but I'm like, oh my God, that's a complicated system.
It's not complicated. It's just third edition D&D. I mean, I guess you can say third edition D&D is complicated.
Is it just third edition D&D? Because what I'm trying
it's
to
the base. Yeah, can't get this right. It's the company that now they made a Gotham City Chronicles board game.
Yeah, and I've got that, and that board game was complicated AF.
All right, so it's the same company, and I figure they were
Monolith or
it's Monolith.
Yeah.
It's Monolith, and I figure they just said, well, we got all this product, because I'm sure they had overruns in that, and they're like, let's get it let's dabble our foot into the RPG realm, and we can use these minis to kind of help sell things. We'll hire somebody, a small team, to just do something accessible, and they sure did. It's like third edition D&D, but you know what? It actually works. I like it. I like it for Gotham. I don't know how it would handle, like supers, like wonder powers.
But see, what I am running is I told them, look, guys, I don't want to run the Avengers. I don't want to run the JLA. I want street level Batman kind of stuff, because the kind of villains I enjoy are what I call that cult of personality villain. The Riddler. It's a dude, his underlings, and maybe a mall or two. Joker, Harley Quinn, and a bunch of underlings.
Yeah.
You've got Penguin and a bunch of thugs. Two-Face and a bunch of thugs. And the problem is, Two-Face and a bunch of thugs does not handle well against a team of superheroes.
Right.
So the system I'm using accounts for that.
What system are you using?
Prowlers and Paragons, of all things. I'll bet you no one's heard of that. It's its own system where essentially maybe you have a 5D in punching and a 4D in defense. You will roll 5d6. 2s, 4s are successes, 6 are 2 successes, 1s, 3s, and 5s are failures. You total up what your success pool is. I roll for the bad guy and he gets more, less, or whatever. If it's close, then there's some narrative benefits that kind of like the Star Wars sort of like, well, you succeed, but you fail, but that might get a little tedious after a while. But the point is it looks like a fairly...
Is it mandatory or is it optional?
I mean, I think it's one of those things where we will slide into a cadence of a few times a session that becomes important, because otherwise I think it slows things down. Where everyone stops
Kind
and
of
goes,
drains the DM a little bit
exactly.
too. I always maintain like
I
that's,
mean, I love the concept. Make no mistake. I love the
it
concept.
is great in concept, and I think Daggerheart probably has that problem too. I've always suspected that it puts a lot of pressure on the DM to always be on and like, okay, I fail, but I get a boon. So what is that boon? And you're like, I don't know.
Well, I told you.
It's like, just,
I think I told you at.
you fucking fail.
I think I told you at New Year's, at Gen Con, I played in Daggerheart.
Yeah, you said you had a pretty good time.
The same person who ran a game for you here last year ran Daggerheart at Gen Con. And
so good DM.
Yeah. Daggerheart as a player was pretty fun. Would I run it? Absolutely not. I would. But if someone said, would you play in Daggerheart? Yeah, sure. Why not? At the same time, I would absolutely play Dragonbane. I would never run Dragonbane. Dragonbane, I hate the way monsters work in Dragonbane. I just hate it.
I think we mentioned that. Maybe even that was like New Year's, but you don't like the fact they always hit. The true monsters always hit.
Well, but in Dragonbane, you roll a die to see what the monster does on its turn. It kicks, it scratches, it.
You can choose too.
Yeah, sure, but I just felt like making your own monsters would be a bit of a pain in the ass in
fair. Yeah,
Dragon.
that's fair. That's fair. Well, I got a super chat here.
Daggerheart.
Diggerhurt. Craig Bragg from up in the great wide north. Interesting that you guys are talking about superhero RPGs. It just so happens I seem to be working on a 4-color concept layout right now. Yes, I've told you, Craig. Let me know when that's ready, brother. I will help promote that for you. Yeah. It's okay to be wrong. Dragonbane is awesome. Says Decado.
Hey.
I don't think he's saying that Dragonbane
It is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't want to run it.
He just said that he wouldn't want to run it. Yeah. I ran a little bit of it. It was the early days of Otto and Roland, I think. It was back. That was Rogan's character, Roland. It was fun. It worked. I like the art. I like the unified style. Greg Gillespie, even if he maybe wouldn't like the system of Dragonbane, I have a suspicion he would like the unified art style of it.
Oh, the art style is very nice. The way that the art director, knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
But
because like you look at something like Old School Essentials, as good as the rules are, like the art is all over the place. You get quasi, almost cartoony art on one page, and then stuff that's approaching.
D&D did that in the day.
I know they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I mean, you had some goofy ass cartoony shit.
Yeah, the actual cartoons, like in the old. Yeah, people do seem to forget that, but
so in your Gotham City game,
yes,
have you fought any named villains?
Not yet, which I think is a good thing.
Sure.
Now we have met Batgirl. Barbara Gordon. In fact, my character is a cop, as I think I have described. He is also a vigilante who goes out and shoots pedophiles and murderers who've gotten away with it, who he knows are cheating the system. Shoots them through the left eye, and my moniker in the papers of the Gotham City Chronicle is the optometrist.
The optometrist,
yeah.
I like that.
And actually, I owe the DM for that one. He's like, "Why don't we just say you're the optometrist?" I was like, "Yes, that is perfect." So a couple of times to solve these things that we're working on, because I'm a cop, I'm like, look, I'm going to go up. I'm going to try to get some help on this because we were stuck. And I'm like, I'm going to flash the signal. And he's like, yeah, somebody comes. He's like, it's not Batman.
The boss
Batgirl.
doesn't show up.
Boss doesn't show up.
Junior partner.
What I like is it's because it's taken a little bit to get her trust. She's like, no, you can't get a hold of me. I'll get a hold of you. And then
I would love to play in this.
Yeah, it was great. And then finally we done things, and I'm like, hey. Then it was like, get a hold of this reporter at the paper. She knows how to get a hold of me. And then like we did something.
Her name is Barbara Gordon.
It wasn't that. No, it was. And then finally, I'm like, look, if we're gonna have trust between us, I need to get a hold of you. So I got like a burner phone, and she's like, here, use this and call me. So I'm like, that's awesome. That's a great feeling as a player, and really all you're doing is getting access to fucking Batgirl.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like, but he's so it's Zolt who's running it. He's running it the right way. He's a great DM. Yeah, the thing is, it's low level, street level, approaching the Batman level hero villains. You know, we're solving these little mysteries, but I think they are kind of leading to a certain place.
So I love just designing these sort of, let's call them Batman knockoff type villains. I like that cult of personality.
Yeah, yeah.
So in my Supers game I'm designing, and I hope none of my players are listening in here, but like one of the early villains, and I don't want you to get the wrong impression that these are all jokes, but I like dark jokes and things that look funny at first but are much more horrifying. So imagine Clayface. Remember the animated series Clayface, this great big brooding thing?
Yeah, just kind of a...
Let's imagine that, but imagine he's called Shit Show. And imagine what he's comprised of.
Oh my God.
And imagine a character going, oh my God, it's in my mouth. I've got a villain coming up named Crossword. And she's sort of like my Riddler version, where imagine the suit with crossword puzzles and you know, 7 down. What, you know, it's a 3-letter word for pain. Ow! You know, I've got the heiress, who is sort of like a Paris Hilton type, whose entire family has gone bankrupt. The courts and the banks have seized everything, so she's running around with her gang, stealing back her rightful stuff.
I like it.
The music man, this guy with malls and sort of music dudes, and I mean, I've got a whole slew of these that I'm going to sort of trot out. You know, mud wrestler villains. I mean, just all kinds of crazy stuff that I adore.
Well, I have a follow-up question, but let me get the super chat here from James. Otto and Roland were awesome. I love that. Yeah, maybe someday it will return. It was just getting to be a little too much to prep for a stream for a couple hours and then actually prep for a game session and then having to do another game session on Friday. I could not keep up. Post a cop pep 10-month member. Thank you, just a cure. When attending Origins in the past, I stayed at the Crown Plaza. What hotels do you recommend now?
First of all, Crown Plaza no longer exists.
Been a while, probably, for you.
It got gutted. I mean, I think the same company owns it. So it depends on what you want. The hotel that you are staying in, Double D, this is the newest, nicest hotel on the block. This is Hilton. And this was put up in 2 years. And this is an impressive. I thought there is no way, because when this hotel first opened, they were advertising like opens early June 2025 or whatever. And I was like, bullshit, that is not going to happen. There's going to be 3,000 Origins guests pissed off but it's here. The Drury is, for better or for worse, where I stay. The Drury is a little bit further out, but you get some suites sometimes, which is nice to host games that you want to run in your room. And they have complimentary shitty breakfast and complimentary shitty dinner, which, if you're cost conscious, that's important. The Hampton across the street is very nice. It's quaint. But I know some people who will stay several blocks away. It's much cheaper, and they'll just Uber in. And the weather here has been, for those of you who don't know, the weather here in Columbus is absolutely beautiful this week, which it's usually oppressive hot and rainy this time of the year, but it is in the mid 70s. Nice, I mean, you can't ask for better weather. So the Crown, where you are familiar with, and that hotel was in such rough shape, they've changed it into something called the Gardens or the Loft, or it has a kind of a swanky name, but they gutted it, they redid the whole thing. I haven't been over there, but from the outside it looks very nice. It looks very modern, very sleek.
Must be an old brand, that Crown, because the one at Gen Con, it's kind of cool, but you can tell it's old too.
I stay at the Crown every year at Gen Con.
Okay.
And the Crown is neat because in the lobby they've got like these molds of the old people at the train station, because the Crown bought the train station and converted that into a hotel. So you can, at the Crown in Indianapolis, sleep in cars. They've got cars they've converted into hotel rooms. Oh, wow. They're very expensive, and I think they're probably very impractical. Yeah. But that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And if you're ever at Gen Con, they do have official games going on at the Crown. It's one of the official places. So
Gen Con.
played, I think our very first game when we went to Gen Con in 2009 was at the Crown.
Starting next year, games are going to get scheduled in people's rooms. I mean, they're out of space so much at Gen Con. They're going to start.
I know, yeah.
When you're out doing shopping, we're going to schedule a game in your room for 4 hours.
As much flack as this convention gets, for everything, a lot of it deserved, of course. But like, it seems like Gen Con is run by complete retards now.
So, Gen Con recently had a change in management, and we'll see what that means. So, Peter Atkinson, who ran Gen Con for ever since he bought it in the early 2000s, I think he's been running it for 20 or so years. He recently retired. A bunch of people who were, I guess, left in charge of it, we're going to see what they do. I mean, I've met Peter Atkinson. There are things about him you'd like and things about him you would not like. I know you, and again, he's a businessman and he wants to make money, but there's probably some things you don't care about.
He's one of those guys that got kind of almost like Me Too'd, sort of, from what I remember. Like he was real touchy-feely with his employees, and they would go on like some retreat, and he would, like old school, maybe stuff that was fine in the 90s, he was trying in the 2000s or 2010s from what I remember. And then all of a sudden, a parade of like young women started like saying, "Hey, I
don't want to get Zach Est here with regards to Peter Atkinson, but I would not doubt that."
Mm-hmm.
And I have been told by a credible source of someone who shouldn't have been doing this was in a very voluntary situation. And the individual in question, I despise this individual with such passion, but I will not reveal the individual's name.
Yeah. Until after the camera's off.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Because I think you know this person.
Oh boy. Okay. But yeah, and it's the old thing of like, hoisted on thy own petard.
Yes.
I mean, he likes to probably think of himself as an egalitarian, liberal, leftist, champagne socialist.
Absolutely.
And it's like, okay, when the rubber meets the road, that shit don't matter, Peter. You're going to get fucking Me Too'd by these broads just as much as anybody else, any right-wing person.
That said, a good friend of mine, a very good friend of mine who worked for Origins up until January when he was summarily fired, got a job with Gen Con doing the exact same thing he was doing for Origins. I presume for more money and absolutely more respect. Yeah. Origins treats their employees like
garbage.
Rough. I mean, you get ridden hard and put away wet when you work for Origins. I mean, so say what you want about the people at Origins, they are worked hard.
I worked with this guy, Eric, in public accounting. Public accounting is it's a rough field when you're just trying to get your experience to get your CPA.
Is that like getting folks off the streets to come in and do their taxes? Is that what public accounting is?
Not really. Okay. I mean, it could be, but it's, they have business clients and all that. But those are the ones like during tax season, you end up working like 70 hours a week.
Oh, sure.
I'll never forget this guy, Eric. He's kind of a good old boy. He came from the southern part of our state. And he's like, comes in double D. He's like, we get worked like N's and paid like Mexicans here. always made me laugh.
Oh my goodness gracious.
They work us like N's and pay us like Mexicans.
So to transition to something else that I think is important for you and I talk about, and your audience may have some interest. I brought some games, some board games for us to play, and these are not here tonight in front of the crowd, but for you and Mrs. D and Daughter D and some other folks. I brought Thin Span. Thin Span's a lot of fun. Did you ever play Wingspan?
Oh yeah.
Thin Span I think is my favorite of the spans.
That's the dragon one, right?
Worm Span is the dragon.
Worms.
Thin Span is fish.
Okay.
And that's really fun. A board game I got for my birthday that was shockingly fun was called Night Shift. You play strippers, and you are
That's
trying
the one you were telling me.
trying to collect as many guests, and you take them to the VIP rooms, and you are playing essentially a press your luck game to not do the same move twice as you're drawing cards, or else you go bust. Now, what I really love about Night Shift is all of the patrons are face down. You can go up and sort of tap on a patron, you flip the card over, and it's a person with particular interests or body type enjoyments. And none of them are bad, except there's one old maid. There's one card you don't want to get, and that is your dad. And I thought, oh, that is the funniest.
Oh, so you could be.
That is the funniest thing. Your dad is in the
Your
strip
dad
club.
shows up. Hi, honey. Awkward. Patrick Demo for 5. Good to see you, buddy.
Now, Patrick, does he go to Gen Con?
He does.
Okay.
Yeah, you should go say hi to him.
I tried last Gen Con, but I must have gotten the booth wrong because the booth looked like some blue hairs, and I was like, I'm not going to walk up and say something. So, Patrick,
Pointy hat.
pointy hat.
Yeah, pointy hat.
So, Patrick,
I don't know if he's going this year.
all right, well,
Let us know, Patrick, if you are. Would love to see you at Gen Con again, but I'll see if I can squeeze coming to CNY Con in the future. So it sounds like he is
he's
going.
going
So.
to CNY Con.
All right, yeah, but it sounds like he might be going to Gen Con again. He's just coming from Michigan, so and they actually sell there. They sell stuff.
Oh, sure, Michigan's not too far.
Yeah. So look for pointing at
My wife is from the great state of Michigan.
Buckeye, Wolverine marriage, right?
You think I'm a Buckeye guy? No.
No.
I'm from one state over, the great state of West
That's
Virginia.
right. I keep forgetting. You're actually a West Virginia boy.
Oh,
But
yes.
how long did you live around?
I lived in Ohio longer than I ever lived in West Virginia.
Yeah.
I lived in Ohio probably for 25 years. I was 18, left West Virginia, and only came back for summers and so on.
Saying hi to Chris.
Yeah, well, yes. Nutkin.
Yep.
Nutkin might be listening. I don't know. I told him we'd be on tonight.
If you are out there, Nutkin, salute.
I saw Nutkin at dinner the other night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I always see him when I go in for...
You stop there first.
Yeah, we stop here on the way because North Carolina to Ohio is a long trip. North Carolina to Indianapolis is even worse. But we stay overnight at my parents' house every time because they're a good halfway point.
So your whole family moved to Ohio.
No one moved from Ohio. My family lives in West
You're
Virginia.
still in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I guess that would be halfway.
My mom's
I was thinking.
My mom is from Florida originally, so I would go down to Florida a lot as a kid. And my dad is from West Virginia, and they live. My brother lives in West Virginia. My sister lives in West Virginia. And most of my aunts and uncles.
They love it.
Where they're so you have to admit, where I am from, Huntington is one of the least West Virginia places in West Virginia. It's on the border of Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia. So it is the westernmost point. I mean,
Always go near there. Whenever we're going south, I never like going down through the spine of West Virginia.
no, you don't want to do
I
that.
like going down Ohio
Yeah.
and cutting across the bottom of West Virginia.
You should probably see Huntington on the other side.
Yeah.
There's
And
a-
I always remember going through Huntington.
Yeah.
So it's always near there. Yeah.
Home of Marshall University and all that.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's no different than Dayton where I lived, just smaller. The same idiots, the same fools, but same nitwits.
All right. Let's see if there's any questions here.
Yeah, ask us some questions. What's your favorite thing about Origins? Well,
Oh, Rogan.
Rogan's on. Hey, Rogan.
Rogan is he's all jazzed because there's a stripper CCG and he says
It's not a CCG.
well it's a game, it's a board game, right? Please tell Haster I said hi. So he's officially people tell him where they
We'll break out the stripper game and you'll see if you like it or not.
I tell you what, I have a couple of channel fans that might be in Saturday.
Okay.
You always said maybe we could have a double decon. Would it be possible to open up a room early?
So I'll talk to you later. Maybe, maybe not. Or I have some strings. They would not be totally private, but it would be quasi-private.
Yeah, which would be good enough.
I can probably swing
And
something.
maybe we're talking like late afternoon. That way, I'd be freed up for the most of the evening. To
We would
bullshit.
probably go behind where I work. There's a spot. Those tables say reserved.
Oh,
They say
yeah.
reserved because I put those there so that my friends can play there if they want them to.
So you can sit there in the corner and oversee things.
Well, at this point, since I'm quitting anyway, like fuck it. Are you done? Well, I'm done now. Well, your shift isn't over. You know what? Sure it is. What are
Yeah.
you going to do about it?
Yeah. Eh. They must be doing something wrong if they're losing folks like you guys.
So again, I'm going to give you the really short version. I do not blame them completely, but what has happened so we used to be volunteers. They converted us into employees. They were concerned, maybe rightly, maybe wrongly, that they were in violation of labor law or tax law or whatever by not properly compensating us with a paper trail. The problem is before we were being comped a hotel, we were being a per diem, we were given travel expenses. Now we are just paid $18 an hour. The rest of that stuff gone. So
The value of those fringe benefits far exceeded $18 an hour.
it is costing me about $1,000 to come here and work this particular year.
And it used to never.
Yeah, we would
At least you maybe break even,
Right.
probably, right?
And my wife, when this came down in March, she's like, "Fuck them, we're not going." I said, "Honey, let's go back and see our friends one more time, the people that we worked with. I don't want to have the last time we were there." And like I said, "I'll pay for the hotel. Just come on, let's go."
Yeah.
I talked her into it, and so we're here. But I will probably return next year as an attendee.
Just an attendee.
She is
Just giving
walking out with the middle finger.
Giving the
up.
middle finger. Yeah.
But I mean, she's hated Origins for years. She wanted to stop coming years ago, but I always talked to her.
Yeah, and I can't rightly say we'll be coming back here next year. I'm not. Mrs. D's. If Mrs. D says, "Look, if we're gonna go to a big con or something," and I don't care. Like I would much rather go to CNY, but in the same respect, if Daughter D and Mrs. D want to go see the whole dog and pony show, just go to Gen Con and
but
jump into the
I mean, I enjoy Origins more than Gen Con because in Origins I can get around.
Well, you're a big kind of a big shot here too.
No.
Well-
No. I didn't. Your audience does not need to get the wrong impression.
Not
I'm
like a
not
big shot, like you're a shot caller, but like you can
Starting
pull-
next year, I won't be.
That's true. Yeah.
But Origins, I feel like you can get from point A to point B fairly easily. If there's a game that you want to play, you can get into it. Gen Con has wonderful pageantry. I love the lights and the pageantry, and you feel like you're in the middle of craziness. You feel like you're in the Las Vegas of the gaming world. Everyone should experience that at least once just to see this nonsense. Origins is a little bit more serious about gaming, in my opinion.
But it's not. But you don't get nearly, I would guess, the quality like you would at a CNY. Which how long has it been since you've been at something like a CNY or North Texas?
So I used to go to Con on the Cob quite a bit.
All right, that's almost a separate category as we try to.
Con on the Cob is just plain crazy.
Yeah,
And talk about the blue,
Ryan Nicolai was there last year.
talk about the blue hairs. Con on the Cob is nothing but blue hairs. I mean, they're all nuts.
I wouldn't say that. They're crazy in a different way. I mean, look, the guys in the cult robes going around.
I know that guy.
Oh, I do too. Yeah,
But, Zoltan, or he's a magician, or he was a magician. Like
Okay.
his job was a stage magician.
yeah.
But Andy Hopp, the guy that runs Con on the Cob, hell of a nice guy. I mean, I would do anything for Andy.
We love the convention.
Yeah.
And the only reason we're not going this year is because we're.
It's the epitome of weird.
It is, yeah. We're going up to Arnicon in Minneapolis.
Oh, wow.
I know Griff,
What month are you going?
October.
Dress warm, my friend. Dress
We're in
warm.
here.
That's right. You live in Erie.
I mean, we know.
But Minnesota in October is going to be chilly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But I want to go up, see some of these luminaries that might not be, with us, too much longer. He can pull some of the folks from Arneson's group.
Sure, yeah.
It's Griffith Morgan, the guy who did Secrets of Black.
Yeah.
Yeah. So And I love Griff. He's a good guy. He's always treated me well, and and I know he's been kind of wanting me to come up, and I'm in this weird position where people want me at their conventions, but they can't because of some of my views.
Yeah.
I can't be an official. I can never be like an official guest because that would give like a target to everybody to be like, look, they're friendly too. These kinds of people. But they're always very happy to see me. So, which I am perfectly fine because I would never want. I would feel horrible if a convention took flack because I was, like there. So I'm perfectly fine to be just kind of a little under the radar and, just like I said, I've never asked for like a free anything. I always pay my own freight and hang out.
As you are reading that, I remember another game we brought, Galileo. Galileo, I learned a few weeks ago, that game is fun as shit. There is so much going on with Galileo. We want to play Galileo.
All right. Oh, this is again from Patrick. To Haster and any other divers, if you're going to Gen Con this year, the booth number is 2904.
All right. So, Patrick, 2904. I'll have to write that down or ask again. Sometimes the Gen Con booth numbers are a little like hidden. And
Patrick text it to me.
Yeah.
And then I'll text it to him.
2904 sounds like it is the far crazy end of one side of Gen Con.
From what I remember, 2 years ago we went, and I believe it was as if you were walking into the vendor hall, from the hall, the main hall, it's to the extreme far right.
And I will be on
you're on the extreme far right. You guys
others.
geographically could not be that. I'm sure you can traverse that that quest.
Especially in the mornings. I get into the hall before other people do, much like Patrick probably does. So maybe I'll make an effort to come over in the morning.
Lovely guy. His wife is fantastic, Joyce. They're great, salt of the earth people. I love them.
Pointy hat.
Pointy hat.
All right, that I can remember.
They always get confused. There's a YouTuber.
I love
called Pointy Hat.
The YouTuber. You probably hate him, but I do like his voice. I like listening to his videos because his voice is.
A lot of people do, but Patrick, rightfully so, can't stand him because they always get confused by him. So
I'm sure.
I completely understand that. So what you gonna do? What else has been going on in your gaming world? You're doing
so
superheroes now. What were you doing before?
So Supers is Friday night, and before that, I had just finished up a 4-year campaign. And when I started the campaign, the idea was I want to run Against the Giants, Descent to the Depths of the Earth, Vault of the Drow, Queen of the Demon Web Pits.
Yeah, full Monty.
But I ran it 5th edition because that's what these people wanted to play. And, well, I mean,
to the gulag with you, sir.
Yeah. Man, I could go on a whole sub rant of 5th edition / I like the system as the core. I don't like all the bloat. I like Shadow Dark, but I would like to lighten Shadow Dark up a little bit, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, there's a whole thing there. But I thought, I'm going to do this. And I thought, well, rather than start the characters at 10th level with the Giants, let's just create a whole story that leads up to that. So if you recall, a Klavdra, she's the Drow bad guy. So I started out this epic story, level 1, where a Klavdra was this known figure, this shadowy Bond villain kind of lady. And I leveled them up through all these crazy adventures to 10th level. I mean, the craziest shit happened. I could tell you stories and you'd be blown away at some of the zany things that went on. But we eventually got to that. Now, 5th edition. Against the Giants. Boom. Does not work.
I could have told you that.
So, 5th edition worked pretty well with Vault of the Drow, Descent to the Depths of the Earth.
5th edition works great up to about 5th or 6th level.
Well, no, the problem is the Giants modules are just this endless churn. And Gary in his notes was like, your characters will probably want to pull out and come back in. Yeah. These people, no, we're going to keep on going. And then they get mad that we're just getting our asses kicked constantly by giants. And those giants in 1st edition weren't all that tough, all things considered. In 5th edition, those are monsters. 5th edition giants are horrible. probably the nastiest creature in 5th edition is a vampire. A tough vampire is probably the spookiest goddamn thing.
In 5e. Yeah,
5e.
I'm trying to remember. They get like a bunch of lair actions.
All kinds of crazy nonsense and a bazillion hit points and whatever else. But there was not many creatures in 1st edition that were particularly terrible. But I'll tell you what's really weird, and I hadn't read Demon Web Pits in quite some time. Demon Web Pits was written at a time before I think the guys at TSR really thought out the cosmology of what this was. So, and chat, for those of you who are big Demon Web Pits fans, do you remember the fact that Lolth is sort of this goofy figure who, in one room, she's hiding behind a curtain with like this microphone. Hello! It's this Wizard of Oz kind of thing where it's like, well, that's fucking weird. And then she runs away. And then there's another room where she has all these illusions. And then she runs away again. I mean, it's like...
Well, I remember Gygax was so busy. He had started...
Gygax did not write this.
Yeah, and then he was like, I can't finish this. So who is was
David C. Sutherland,
okay.
who was an artist.
He's an artist, yeah. He did all the, like...
Except
the devils and...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is a shit show of a module. And in fact, as I was prepping it for my 5th edition group, I thought, what do I do about the spaceship? This is the corniest fucking thing. But then I thought, you know what? I want these players to have the true Demon Web Pits experience.
Yeah,
keep the spaceship.
Lean into it.
I kept the spaceship. And the spaceship is a bit more fun than I would have thought. It's still kind of goofy and just the first creature they meet is a Type 5 Merilith demon who's like a secretary who is like, where are your papers? Do you have paper? And it's this bizarre, comedy bit that, she tells them, wait here, I'm going to go check on something. She never comes back, but merely leaving this room violates the Merilith, the whole thing. But
people always forget that there's a spaceship in that. Like, the thing you always remember is about.
It's not a spaceship. Well, it is a vessel.
But yeah, it's perfectly circular and
it's shaped like Lolth.
People always remember the artwork. The artwork on the cover, and they remember that pullout of that
stupid map.
The multicolored
I used the map
web. Yeah, I guess.
And I regret using that map. That map was awful. And there have been so many different updates to that map over the years by cartographers. I should have used a different fucking map because that angular map is so weird. I thought, and I was a little disappointed that as you recall, chat, in the Demon Web Pits, you can open up all those doors and go to Ice World and Vampire World and Desert World. My players, 4 years into this campaign, I think had zero interest. Fuck it, we're not going in that room. Oh, it's an ice room, fine. A swamp room, fuck it, we're not going there. Where's the Demon Web Pit? We want to get to Law. So they didn't do any of that stuff.
They're very results-oriented.
Well, again, it was 4 years in. Several of the original characters were dead, and some of the players were like, well, I'm not playing my favorite character no more. That's right, you got fucked over by Lolth, you bastards. So there was a little bit of passion that was gone as those second characters just don't have the same oomph to them. So I think they want to...
It happens, and it's...
Well, as a GM... I hate killing characters because I invest a lot of crazy stories in people, and I'll do everything I can to keep you from getting killed in many instances, but sometimes, like in this campaign, you left me no choice.
Yeah, and sometimes I don't know how you do it, but I put myself in a position where I don't fudge rolls because I roll openly. I roll in the public, and it's like
I'm using Roll20, and everyone sees that because I have several people who are not in the same area.
You play online.
We play online because I've got 2 people in Indiana, 1 person in Alabama, et cetera, et cetera. But what I learned to do, and players almost hate this even more. There are certain situations where your character can die, and I'll be happy to let that one final prayer, that one final crazy thing. You actually lived. However. Double D, roll 2d6. I rolled a 2 and a 4. All right, stat number 2 is wisdom. Stat number 4 is dex. Roll a d4. You know,
Yeah,
a 2.
you lose,
Each
yeah.
one goes down by 2. Holy shit! Well, that's the price of dying. A friendly reminder.
Yeah, I almost wish there was a codified version of that. Like, okay, you are not dead, but you have been so grievously wounded, your constitution is now like 8 or something like that.
Or you can be dead. Your choice.
Yeah, or you can be dead. Yeah, and it's like, well, neither is good, but you're still alive, and there's maybe a little bit of tale to tell here, so to speak, as you fight your way back. And maybe it's like, okay, if just through time you will recover a point of constitution every 3 months or something like that. The problem is you always run into this with D&D and all that is just the magical healing. It's just like
And that
your
is
hands and
yeah.
everything's
That is
good.
ultimately my problem with 5th edition is everyone's a goddamn spellcaster.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
It's like almost like 3/4 of the character classes have some sort of magical or quasi-magical abilities.
Because they want to make a video game.
Yeah.
And I think that modern D&D is not inspired by certain things as much as it is inspired by World of Warcraft. I mean, you look at the creatures and the races and the things, that's where they're drawing their inspiration from, because that's where they erroneously think that's what the customer wants. And I think the customer does want that for a period of time, but it's going to be cyclical. I have this firm hope / belief / theory that eventually Wizards, who all they want is the Underoos license, the Lunchbox license, the hat license. They want this to be a household brand the same way that Playboy. You can buy a Playboy hat and not read a Playboy. You can buy a Harley Davidson t-shirt and not own a Harley Davidson. They want you to buy a D&D shirt whether you play D&D or not. So let them keep the toys and the bath towels and whatever else. I think at some point they're going to have to license out the game to a third-party house who produces people who know game design, who will build them their game, but they're going to have some fingers in that, because if they want this game sold on Amazon, at Walmart, and at Target, it's got to be at least not family offensive. So the days of succubus titties are gone. The days of Merilith titties are gone. I oppose that as a firm titty lover, but I get it. And this stuff with demons and creepiness, and dude, that's what I want in my games. I want all kinds of demons and creepiness and so forth. But I get where there has to be a happy medium.
Yeah.
Maybe the happy medium is they get a third-party house to do the rules, and they just go, fine, we'll look this over to make sure it doesn't violate anything crazy. But that's what I think is going to happen at some point.
Yeah, my I did a episode of the Lair, just the Wednesday stream, and like, what if I own D&D? And I would put it in the hands of, what I would do is I would put the main line in the hands of maybe someone like a Greg Gillespie, someone who's going to treat it with love, and kind of, it's going to be straight fantasy. It's going to have some of the good Muppets, as we like to call them, the elves, the dwarves, because he loves them. He loves them a lot. But then what I would also do is I would have someone like a Jeff Talanian to have a sort of, I hesitate to ever use the word adult, like an adult version of the
D&D
game.
strip club.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like a NC-7, like a bloody gory. Like the main one is just kind of down the middle, and it's classic fantasy and all that. And then we have the sort of
the Italian film director version.
Yeah, we have the Italian, edgy, the pirate Borg or Mork Borg, that sort of edgy, but with some chops to it. You know what I mean? Like some actual.
Maybe the answer is you form the most basic, boring D&D rule set, the most basic bare bones stuff, and then you have a satellite of kind of like add-ons. Do you want the Conan add-on to your D&D? Do you want the Moorcock add-on? Do you want the Blood and Boobs add-on? Do you want the fairies?
Well, I would say you have to pick a lane to begin with. It can't be so generic that
Yeah, I mean,
I would say you can probably never go wrong as just sort of the baseline. as much as you may not like it, but like the sort of Tolkien-esque, like go on an epic quest, elves, dwarves, halflings. Because really, where else do you get that? Other than so
That's very low. That's very low magic, though. Tolkien is very low magic.
That's fine with me.
And D&D, even under Gygax, was pretty high magic, all things considered.
Yeah.
Dudes are running around with spells. Gandalf casts like 2 spells in the entire series.
Let me read this super, and then I'll tell you something that may or may not be controversial. From Post Apoc Pep. Thank you so much, sir. One of the great things about attending a gaming con is sitting with other gamers and hearing their stories.
The right gamers.
Yeah, got the fear of missing out. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, we're just, I've known him for a long time now. We started out just as online companions over 20, well over 20 years ago now. And then we started to meet up at Gen Con. Yeah.
Did you ever tell this crowd the metal goat story?
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you?
I have, yeah. I still have the shirts.
Yeah. It was someone from Texas made those shirts.
Yes.
And I have my shirt too. That is the craziest story. That's Gen Con story. Yeah,
for those that don't know, I'll give the Reader's Digest version. We showed up at Gen Con. It was probably 2017, maybe, I'm thinking. Does that sound right? 2017, 2018.
That may have been a little late. It may have been earlier than that.
Yeah, maybe it was
Remember,
even
COVID
earlier.
is 19. And this was not that close to, this was further back than COVID, I think.
Yeah, but my whole family was there. And I think when my son started coming, I think it was 2017. So I believe it's 2017. Maybe it's the date is on that T-shirt. But
I think the date is on that
so
T-shirt.
we'll check when we go back. Yeah. So we all sign up for this game. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Now that I think of it, maybe it was a little earlier.
I feel like it would have been 14 or 15.
Yeah, I think maybe because it was right when 5th edition was coming out, and I had not played 5th edition. I was like, what is this new version of D&D?
5th edition is
so
14.
I think you are right. I think it was earlier than that. So we're talking like 2015 maybe. And we show up. This guy's ensconced behind his chair. This dude thought he was like Cock of the Walk, and
the kingpin.
The kingpin. He's like, he's chewing gum like Burt Reynolds. Like, all right, here's your characters. He's got them all out on the table, and like, cool. This is like 5th edition, right? And he's like, well, 5th edition with some of my changes, and I've been around the
shit.
I've been around the block long enough to know that that's like a warning sign, when they're saying like no, the game is not good enough, it's got to have my spin on it. It's
warning,
one thing,
Will Robinson.
It's one thing to say like, I just don't do this in the game, that's just for a convention game. I understand that, but no,
death saves. We're not going to do that. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but then this guy was all over the board. Yeah, and like I almost blocked it out, but like we spent so much time just trying to go down a hallway, and like he was blocking us at every turn. And Rogan's character finally decided to go, and then he's like, we'll roll a whatever check, and Rogan rolls the dice, and he gets a perfect 20, and the DM ignored him for a while, and then Rogan's like, hey, I rolled a 20. He's like, I was going down the hallway, and the guy's like, oh no, you could never have gone down the hallway. Your character's blind. We're like, what? I'm right across the table from my buddy Gavin Morgan. And he's just looking at he's looking at me and giving me those look, like shaking his head. And I'm just like, what are we gonna do? So a couple of us went up to the bathroom at the same time. We're like, man, this game is getting over, really, it's really weird and crazy. I come back from one of the bathroom visits, and we have gone into another world. This guy literally, someone went into a room, he rolled like a die 4, and he goes, a 3, I never got that before. Went into his bag, and there was literally a folder marked 3, and he began to open it up, and, okay, you're on a beach now. We're like, what the
So where's the metal goat come in?
That was one of the minis that he was using. The metal goat was one of the minis that he was using to represent, I don't even know what at this point. I'd have to go back.
But a mutual friend of ours made all these T-shirts with a metal goat.
A metal goat, yeah. And I just kind of threw that into the story because it was true, but I just like, oh yeah, and by the way, there was a metal goat on the table.
Now,
in lieu of any other maze. Long story short, we had enough. He was getting creepy, like with my wife and daughter, like a little bit. And they were just...
the way Burt Reynolds would do.
Yeah, the way Burt Reynolds would do. And then finally... He had gone too far, and he was trying to jerk around Gavin Morgan. And when Gavin Morgan's in a bad mood, you don't want to do that. And Gavin Morgan is like, fine, I'll make a roll. And then he's like, you know what, dude? I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. And that was the sign for an immediate flight from the table. We all stand up. I reach into my pocket, throw a $10 bill on the table, and say, I'm so sorry, we just, not the game for us. And, we all just flee.
Buy yourself some more gum.
Yeah. There was a townie. And it was our whole group, my whole family, plus Rogan, plus Gavin Morgan, and then an Indianapolis townie. And I always initially felt bad, like, holy shit, maybe
Should
this
have
guy...
given the $10 of the townie.
I know, but he came with us, and far from being like, damn, you guys, he was like, oh, thank God you guys did that. He's like, I didn't want to play in that game any longer. He's like, I'm just going to go over to the vendor hall and chill now. So right after it happened, I gave a very... like a very detailed accounting of this on like a post or something, and that's where someone that we both mutually
all
knew
hooted it up. It was so.
They thought it was funny, and the thing is, it was all true. I mean, I may have told it in a flamboyant style, but it was everything. All the facts were true. So this guy had T-shirts made up for everybody about the death of my dreams in Gen Con.
Now I should point out some of your criminal activities. So Double D has had a habit at Gen Con of the last day swiping some of the signage. And one year you gave me a sign that you swiped, and I had that for many, I might still have it, but you have inspired me. The signage I have at my area, which is this great big silk screen thing that we had to put together for my area here, I think I might have to take that home with me.
I think you should.
And I think I might have to make some of those terrorist hostage videos with a ski mask on and the signage in the background lambasting Gamma for all their bad decisions over the past year.
You see what happens
when you
meddle into the affairs of the People's Front. Well, I would always take it because it was a memory, but also the artwork.
You gave me one year.
We gave you one year. It was the Gen Con ball was always on Saturday, and they would always have on a little stand,
little easels would have
easel would have this event's going up, and it would always have the pretty cool shades of like the artwork of the convention.
They were nice.
Well, the artwork of the convention used to be pretty cool. Not anymore. It's a little fruity.
Oh, it's a little corporate, just
corporate,
lines
fruity,
and black and white text.
It's very soft too. Like I was telling you, like the first year we went, there was this kind of like cosmonaut-y chick. Do you remember that year? She had like she was like floating in space and had like they used to do stuff like that, but that was before all that stuff became verboten. So now they have soft, that CalArt style bullshit. We went over this a couple weeks ago on the channel.
I kind of liked the cosmonaut, truth be told.
Oh, I like that's what I'm saying. I said I love that style. But it's just gone downhill since.
Retro-y,
yeah. I was down with that. I loved it. It was playful. It had a little bit of sex appeal. But now they don't do any of that kind of stuff. It's this weird, just dumb CalArt style stuff. So I wouldn't take one of those things now if you paid me to.
Other than the act of just swiping it for the fun of it.
That was always fun. Just. Everybody would I would just have to remark like, okay, we're getting ready to leave. I'm just going to work myself up. And I would just, sometimes right in front of people, just walk by, pluck it off the easel, and then just keep walking. And I found that was the key.
Well, I have the luxury of, if someone sees me taking down this thing, no one's going to think twice.
Yeah, they're going to think that sign needs to come down.
Yeah, I'm just going to take it. I have a thought on something that you brought up maybe a couple of weeks ago, a very hot topic. But
please,
let me excuse myself for just a moment.
Give me a chance to
go through some super chats.
Yeah, buxom barbarian babes wielding broadswords of Bolton. Yes, exactly. Cal here, roll for Tarako. Yep. Thank you guys for just listening. I hope you understand I can't monitor the chat full time while I'm here. I see Rogan is here. Rogan heard that story that we were relating. God, the metal goat story. Yeah, we were now in the Bat Clan. Yeah. Rogan was there. Rogan left a beautiful bag. That was a casualty. Handmade. Yeah, yeah, you rolled a nat 20. Oh, you couldn't have done that. You were blind. What? I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go to. So just sit here and just chit chat with this guy. Just riff a little, if you will.
So for those of you who are sort of still tuned in to what we were talking about, I think that, and there's something I want to bring up when he comes back, but just sort of to tide things over, Origins is a really fun convention. There's a lot to do in Columbus. I think that if you like good food, there are some great restaurants in the close area. But I think for those of you who want to come for the gaming experience, one of the things that I have noticed over the years is that when you go to a convention, you are really rolling the dice, figuratively and literally, about the kind of game that you get into. And it has been my experience that at Origins, the quality of the RPG is far better than Gen Con. Now, you might say, well, but is it greater or worse than CNY-Con, North Texas, whatever? Well, that's a whole different debate. But the breadth of things that you can play here is pretty wide. A friend of mine runs Paranoia a couple of times every year. Paranoia is a hard game to find at a convention. No one runs Paranoia very often, but I've got a buddy who runs it typically every year, and his tables absolutely fill up. Now,
I heard you talk about the quality of the gaming.
it's far better here than at Gen Con.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're both left in the dust by something like CNY. You're getting games from the creators like Matthew Tapp, Barrows and Borderlands,
Sure.
Greg Gillespie, DM Blackwall, Todd. Like all these guys are not only selling their games there, they're actually running their games, and they do a great job of it too.
What Origins has moved to, and I think Gen Con has done something similar, and this is a subtle nuance here, is Origins would much rather prefer to deal with a gaming group or a gaming organization than, say, you. So you see this collection of groups of these dudes that love Savage Worlds or love pulpy games, and maybe they have 3 or 4 systems that they use. These are very popular.
Is the one dude he's on the new for lack of a better word, sensitivity committee for Wizards of the Coast? The one guy on there, and I would argue he's probably the one guy that probably belongs. He is one of those guys that organizes D&D games at big conventions.
So Baldwin,
that's it. It's the Baldwin
all right.
guy.
So again, I don't want to get too far sidetracked, but you're bringing me into D&D, Pathfinder, Paizo. So Baldwin, they are Wizards' representative at all the conventions across the country. So Baldwin Games.
They're like the Swiss embassy for countries that can't get along.
Well, Baldwin runs 5th edition D&D for Wizards, and they get paid very well to do that. And they used to distribute all kinds of great, really cool D&D swag. And I remember being in the position that I was in, I was able to score some swag. Mm-hmm. I have these absolutely awesome Tomb of Annihilation. Tomb of Annihilation was 5th edition, but it is the devil.
Early 5th.
These are pint glasses with just the devil head, just the iconic thing. And it's like, oh, I drink beer from this constantly because it is the Tomb of Horrors glass. It is so awesome. But there was a bad relationship between Gamma and Wizards due to that revolution I was talking about earlier. But anyway.
Viva la revolution.
Baldwin charges $25 to play a 4-hour D&D session.
Per person.
Yes!
Oh my God.
And
$25.
And I talked to someone yesterday who who signed up.
That's Condor DM prices.
I know someone who signed up to play a 3 or 4 package game for $103. And I said to him after he played game number 1 yesterday, so what was it like? And he's like, well, I was expecting Dwarven Forge, dungeons, and no, they were using maps and drawing with markers and using rubber duckies as dragons, or just whatever. I'm like, what in the fuck is this?
Really?
And now Baldman runs pretty good games, but these are not $20 a person quality games. If you want to play D&D, 5th edition, 1st edition, whatever, you can have an equally good.
They're getting paid by Wizards, and they're getting paid by the people who play the games.
Yep. Now, Wizards is probably not paying them full-time employee prices, but they're probably getting a stipend, and then they're getting checks from the players. I forget who it was that's on the committee, but I will tell you that the guys at Baldwin, if you go up to the D, and you should go up to the D&D room at some point and see these geriatric, grouchy motherfuckers. I have to wonder, how are these guys into 5e? These guys look like the stodgiest, grouchiest, and I've dealt with them, and they are stodgy and grout. I mean, I have to deal with them every year. It's too hot in here. It's too cold in here. There's not enough paper towel. Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm like their concierge every year.
And this is the year you can tell them to fuck off.
They were good to me all those years by giving me the D&D swag, as well as making sure that my employees were given swag too. So for as much as they've pissed me off, they've treated me well. So I'm not going to tell them to F off. The Shadowrun guys, they are the nicest dudes. I have to deal with the Shadowrun guys, the guys at Catalyst. They're the nicest guys. The Pathfinder Society, I don't like Pathfinder, but those people are very nice. I'm their concierge too. Everyone, I'm kind of a concierge figure to some folks here in the industry, and I'll tell you, most of them are pretty nice. I have not. I mean, the D&D guys are a little grouchy, but I'm willing to forgive them. There are some groups not cool at all. They are grouches, but it's not them.
You're not willing to spill the tea.
9th level games, that's probably not meaning anything to anyone here.
9th level.
What did they make? I think they are behind, among other things, Kobolds Ate My Baby, which is Kobolds Ate My Baby. I'm sure there's people out there watching going, all hail King Torg right now, because whenever you play Kobolds Ate My Baby, that is a crazy experience. You have 30 people screaming and yelling, all hail King Torg. You can hear it throughout the convention. It is the Rocky Horror Picture Show of Gen Con and Origins.
I know of its existence. I've probably seen, it for sale. I just have never.
You don't want to buy it. You want to play it at Origins or Gen Con and get the full experience.
Then leave.
Leave
it there. Yeah.
It is a 4-hour Rocky Horror Picture Show experience. You got to do it at some point. But 9th level games, they're dicks, and they beat up on I have a coworker who is my same position, and she and I are very different styles. She's usually a lot more aggressive than I am, and they got into it last year. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, everyone's usually pretty nice. They're pretty reasonable. Individual personalities aside, pretty nice guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think people, when they don't go to these, they're probably thinking like danger at every turn. Like I said, a lot of it's just a bunch of normies.
It is.
I've noticed far less troonage than in prior years.
Well, you are blind.
Are they here? I guess I just went at the wrong time. I was walking through the vendor hall and I'm like, man, I have not seen a man in a dress and I don't even know if I saw one.
So my staff from noon to 4 today, I had 5 people working for me. Every single one of them was either gay,
right,
or trans.
Good Lord.
Every single one of them were nice.
Yeah.
They did everything I asked them to do. They were hard workers. I would have any one of them back. No doubt in my mind. But this is probably an unusual situation.
Maybe it just all got confined into your area. Maybe those are the only.
My area probably attracts it a little bit more, but
Oh boy.
but the thing I was going to ask about from a couple weeks ago,
Yes, please.
Paizo. Paizo's pending bankruptcy or their financial
Yes.
problems.
Post a Popcap says I played Kobolds Ate My Baby at North Carolina game day. It's a hoot.
North Carolina game day. What year were you there?
Yeah, you go to North Carolina.
I do.
Post a Popcap. Do you know Hastermine? If you've seen him in person, you must recognize his voice.
Do you know post-apocalyptic? Who runs? Do you know the person who runs North Carolina Game Day? It is not me.
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
not me. It is someone in my gaming group who runs North Carolina Game Day.
Oxo.
I'm very curious to see what if he was there 10 years ago. Although it's been the same person that runs NC Game Day forever.
That's Scott guy. Okay.
But anyway, I'm very curious to see what he says.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine Kobolds being run there in years. I haven't, because when Kobolds is run, you know it, because the whole community gets involved.
He says it's Rel. He's Rel.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Rel.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Rel is in my gaming group, buddy.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess post-apocalyptic. I guess we have some people in common. Although I'm guessing it's been a long time since you've been to NC Game Day.
All right. I always love these little mysteries that pop up and get solved.
I'm a little concerned
Surprise
now.
drama.
I'm a little concerned that Deep Throat might get outed here. But so Paizo.
Yes.
So
Yes. If you do, no speculation as to the
yeah. Please don't.
identity
please
of
don't.
Hastermine. Please respect his.
I think in a year or two I can join
Anonymity.
you in front of the camera
Yeah.
and tell a bunch of people to F off, but I can't yet.
Yes.
But Paizo. So a couple weeks ago, obviously the news was that Paizo's in some trouble.
Firing people, laying them off,
Well,
losing millions.
so I think that depending on how you look at it, it's very unfortunate. I think there are some unfortunate things that occurred. I mean, that diamond fiasco, that shouldn't happen.
But somebody said, and it was somebody from my chat, they said, I would have sympathy for them, but apparently Diamond said, hey, this is going to happen. If you want your consigned inventory back, you have to fill out this paperwork by this certain date. And they said that Green Ronin and Paizo did not do that. Now, that's what this person said. I'm not sure if that's true.
I'm not going to doubt that person, but I'm not going to not doubt that person when I tell you, I think these are things in the contract when you first start the relationship with them. And like everything else, I mean, how many terms of service have you just scrolled through and gone, ugh?
I know, but it's a little different when you're just signing up for an app or something. But when you're a
this is your
company,
business.
when you're putting $10 million of inventory with somebody, you'd better have a lawyer
Agreed.
able to
Agreed.
tell you in plain language, hey, what does this mean? What's the worst
Absolutely.
case scenario? Hey,
Absolutely. But this is still a sleazy tactic, I think. I mean,
I wouldn't doubt that. Yeah, I mean,
That, in
it's
fact-
not your stuff to
and
sell.
it's not even Diamond, it's JP Morgan who's coming in to gut Diamond.
Which
And,
is-
I mean,
which
so
is kind of funny.
it is weaselly all the way around. Now, no matter how you feel about Paizo, whatever. But I think that combined with, for some fucking reason, some progressive performative reason, Paizo decided a year or two ago, or 2 or 3 years ago, to unionize their contract workers, their contract writers. That is absolutely insane to me.
Oh, it is.
Now, have you or anyone in your chat looked at the back of a Paizo book in the past couple of years?
I have not.
So, I assume that you know what a D&D book looks like. Those red spine black books.
Yeah.
The size of those, that's the size of a basic Paizo book.
Yeah.
What do you think is the cost of a Paizo book on the back? A book the size of those D&D books.
Like the cost?
What do you think the price tag is on the back?
Oh, the price tag to like the retail.
The printed price.
The retail price. These days probably $49.95.
$65 to $75 is the price on the back of those Paizo books. I had a heart attack. I don't buy Paizo products, but I have the occasion to look at them for the jobs that I do. I saw that and was like, "You got to be kidding me."
Ryan, are you paying? Are you paying? I hope your wife's not in the room. Are you paying $70
I mean,
for a Paizo?
Ryan, are you a Paizo guy? Am I wrong?
Yeah,
Those prices.
Ryan's a cool dude, and he admits all the weirdness. He's not down with all the weirdness of Paizo, but he loves the system.
If
so,
Ryan is here, tell me, Ryan, am I wrong? Was this an errant product I came across? I mean, am I wrong? But when I saw those prices, I thought, yeah, you're charging those prices to have your progressive views. I mean, yeah, if you're going to pay these people, it's not really coming out of your profits. You're passing that on to the consumer.
You know what I kind of don't like these days is everything has to be a hardback. Remember the days of just like you could pick softbacks up and so the corner would get a little scuffed and bent.
The hardbacks look nice.
Hardbacks look nice, but they always were more expensive.
Or, I mean, if you want to go back to the TSR experience, TSR either did hardbacks or they did box sets. And the box sets, you'd have the softbacks in the box set.
Yeah.
And but I mean, TSR did a lot of box sets.
But they did the complete series, the complete handbooks.
Those could have been hardbacks if they were jerks about it. So yeah, they were softbacks. You're right. Those little silver books and those little brown books.
They did their share of. I think if you look back, I think you discover they did their share of, especially we're talking 90s. Maybe more in the 90s. As far as that kind of stuff. Source books. Those when they finally decided to start going after the player market with the complete series.
There was a great book. As an aside. And I'm not a Forgotten Realms guy at all, but there's a few Forgotten Realms things I was very impressed with. There was this Volo's guide to prices, and it was just you'd flip through this book, and it was like the price of what a copper ale would be. I mean, just all this crazy stuff.
I would love that. I would actually love that.
Oh yeah, these practical things of what should things be costing in a medieval society or a medieval fantasy D&D quasi-medieval society, and it was like. The cost of like 6 dudes to mine a shaft, or costs of, I mean, there were probably, good time girl costs, and, everything. It was just nice to have this. And it was supposed to be like what the prices were in Waterdeep, but still having this interesting price guide. And it was this thick of just shit after shit. And I still have that book. And it was so neat. Just as the
I may have to track down a copy
world
of that.
builder in you going, oh man, what does all this stuff cost?
It sounds like a good bathroom book.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's a
put it near the John.
Yeah, that's good.
I generally now tend to simplify things and being like, how are you guys living your life, in the city? Unless we're doing like a specific scene, it's always like the typical, if you're living like kind of hand to mouth sort of, it's 1 gold piece a day for food, lodging, etc., all that stuff. 2, you're living okay. 3, you're living a little,
The prostitutes that you get at fifth level are not the same prostitutes you got at first level.
That's right.
They are a different class of lady. Right.
At 5th level, you go to the Velvet Bed and Table, which is the brothel that my wife's character, who's like closing in on 100 years old in the Imperial City of Anir, she runs. It's not
first level. It's the cuffin stuff. The copper cuffin stuff.
The copper cuffin stuff. Yeah. Then you go to the Velvet Bed and Table. Oh yes. That comes from the City State of the Invincible Overlord, which I had many moons ago, almost immediately after Birthright came out. I had gotten a copy. Well, I guess it was a couple years. But I had gotten myself a copy of City State of the Invincible Overlord from my one buddy, and it had that beautiful map. I'm like, I need this. They're spending so much time in the Imperial City of Anir. This is like 98, 99, 2000, that time period. So I'm like, I need it. And then I'm like, fuck, why don't I just do this? I drew the little harbor wall with like the
City State.
The
Such an amazing product.
Oh, it's great. And I gave him the blank one. So we were filling, because there were... in the original set, there were 2. There was the DM's version, and then they gave you another one that was mostly blank. I'm like, yeah, here's the crummy crab. Where else you going? All right, we'll draw that in. Good times.
Yeah. So was it City State that your buddies at Goodman
Yes.
fucked around? Was that the thing?
That was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they it's weird because they had to try to distance themselves from Bob Bledsaw because he was supposedly like an anti-Semite, and what a difference a year makes, because it seems like everybody's an anti-Semite now. It seems like that's the ticket to like popularity.
It used to be that anti-Semites were rednecks. Now they have degrees from Columbia.
Well, yeah. And so it's like, yeah, okay, last year Goodman was like, yes, we're doing business, but we're only going to get the people back who got burned by their Kickstarter, and we're not going to make a dime of profit. And it's like, oh, just shut the fuck up.
I would love to like Dungeon Crawl Classics. I really would. But
I know one of the reasons is because a person you knew.
Well,
shut up.
Yeah, and I love that guy.
Yeah.
That guy's a Bears fan. I'm a Packers fan, so there's also some other fences there that need to be mended.
Other tension.
But he would just natter on. Did I ever tell you that when he would come to Gen Con, he had a relative that had an apartment right downtown, and the relative would give him the apartment. This guy would bring all of his. Weirdly, he would bring all of his DCC stuff, and he had like 30 hardback copies of the rule book on a shelf in this apartment. Like, what in the world is this? I mean, the fact that you own 30 copies is weird. And I'm not joking. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 copies. And you would bring them, I might need copy blue today. I don't know. Like some sort of DCC OCD thing going on. But in any event,
a couple years ago they were selling, and this is before
they were selling them dirt cheap.
They were selling like $5. It was soft.
Yeah.
It was a soft cover version. To my point, do more of that. You can sell as
I bought a
lost leader. Yeah, like, all right, I'll just have this on my shelf. And I was at the time like I was fine with it. Now he's such a weak-willed, like, milquetoast guy.
Joe is very interesting. I mean, I don't like that game because I would love to like that game. Mm-hmm. But you open that game and a spell description is like 4 goddamn pages. and I'm not as impressed with that goofy funnel system as everybody else is. But Joe is a nice guy, and I think Joe is navigating a world that he doesn't really understand, and he is trying to be everyone's friend. If you ever met Joe, you would like Joe. Joe is the guy that buys everyone a drink.
He's probably just a guy who was not built to fight anything at all.
Joe is not.
He wants to go through life, no strife, like,
correct.
Speak no evil, hear no evil, see no evil.
I got no problem with Joe other than, Joe, I wish you would at least firm up and just make a choice. But if you ever met Joe, Joe is the guy that buys everyone a drink. Joe is the guy that remembers a story that you told him. Joe is a hell of a nice guy. And to see him sort of bungle through these things, it's like,
and then, I guess I can pull back enough to see that, like, in person. Look, a lot of these guys probably, if you had taken everything else out and you were just at a party or something, and I wouldn't even look. What if it was like even someone like Chris Pramus or somebody like that?
So, as an aside, I was thinking about this. I know you love busting on Green Ronin, and I
hate Green Ronin.
I don't blame you. There's Pramus. There's Nicole Lindros.
Terrible people.
There's a third owner to that company, The third owner is Hal Mangold.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I always forget about Hal. Yeah.
Hal is a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Hal is, remember the guy that ran the game for you last year? A person who is by no means left-wing whatsoever.
Right. Yeah.
He and Hal are in the same game group in DC. And
okay.
Hal's a good guy. I mean,
yeah.
Hal's a lefty, of course, because he's in the industry. But I said to this mutual friend of ours, why does Hal let, Nicole and Pramus do all this? And he's like, well, imagine this. You're one guy in a trio, and the other two are involved with each other.
Yeah, you are always outvoted.
Who is going to be outvoted?
Yeah, you are always outvoted.
Hal probably votes with them on most things, to be fair, but Hal...
Even if he wanted to vote different, why bother?
Why bother? Yeah. But Hal is a hell of a nice guy. And Hal is tight with God, Ken Hite. And if you know anything about Ken Hite,
Yeah, the Cthulhu, Trail of Cthulhu guy.
Trail of Cthulhu and Night's Black Agents. Night's Black Agents you would like. Burned spies in Europe fighting against the vampire conspiracy.
Yeah.
Ken Hite is a pretty right-wing dude, or as much as you can be in this industry.
Well, there was a time when Green Ronin was one of the companies like everybody loved.
They put out
Freeport.
They're putting
out Mutants and Masterminds.
They put out that great Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. We played it. We had a
Fire and Ice, I guess.
Yeah, Fire and Ice. Yeah, but we had an epic, probably 6-month campaign in that just to take a break from Birthright. And my wife's character was this real conniving woman, and man, it was awesome. And then it's like it's almost like with Hollywood actors, we don't need to know your fucking politics. Just shut up. You're ruining your legacy. Like Robert De Niro, nobody can take seriously anymore, and it's starting to retroactively sort of do I even want to watch? Goodfellas.
Same thing with
Taxi Driver again.
Baldwin.
Alec.
Although I think he's an awful. I mean, De Niro might not be a truly grotesque. I think Baldwin's a pretty grotesque person. But it doesn't take away some of his great comedy on Saturday Night Live, some of his skits.
I mean,
Glengarry Glen Ross, opening scene.
The 10-minute speech, or whatever, a 10-minute scene. And it doesn't completely ruin it for me. I still can, but a lot of people are like, I can't watch the dude anymore because all they do is spurg. It's not like one incident. Boy, I'm gonna support.
I don't care what Baldwin does. I will still love the Glengarry leads. Coffees for closers.
Yes.
I mean, always be closing. I will forgive him.
My name is fuck you.
Yeah. Just as I will forgive Kevin Spacey for his work in Seven. I will forgive Kevin Spacey. I will still enjoy The Usual Suspects.
Yeah, he's making a comeback tour now. They've decided it's time for him to come back.
But I was saying about these companies. I mean, to be more germane to your audience here, you get Green Ronin, and you say that they're trash, and I get it.
They've become trash.
I am not going to fight you on this subject, but I think all these companies are in serious trouble because there's the rise. Well, you say good, but what's taking over is this splintering of itch.io products. And if you want to see crazy left-wing crap that has zero accountability whatsoever, I mean, say which one about Green Ronin.
I've done a video on it. I've done live streams on those itch.io. Whenever they have a trans humble bumble or whatever they do, it always ends up in my hands, let's just say. And I go through it and have to comb through the most insane. And it's these 2-page, you're at a Thanksgiving dinner, with your parents, and you're a troon, and your uncle's about to mouth off. Do you flip a coin? Do you punch him in the mouth or do you kick him in the nuts? It's always shit like that.
There is no place for that as a serious. If you want to put that out as some kind of parody piece or self-congratulatory.
Well,
piece,
it's therapy. It literally is
absolutely
therapy for these
now
dummies.
Something, and this reminds me, and we're going to argue on this. There is a game system that you absolutely hate, that I think has a little bit more validity than you think. And I almost was going to run a game of it and invite you to it to show you that it is not as terrible as you think, and that is the Apocalypse system.
Oh, yeah. I don't hate. I don't, if somebody was running it, I would probably play in it, but it's lazy. It's for lazy game designers.
Well, there is one game in particular called Bedlam Hall. And Bedlam Hall is like Paranoia. So the premise of Bedlam Hall is the characters are all servants in a 1920s, 30s
sanitarium.
No, they're a family, like an Addams Family type group.
Okay.
And the goal is to not get fired or tossed out. And each character has these special crazy things, but each person has one thing, their absolute nuclear move. And when you've had enough, you can execute this move, which is you send a series of letters to the paper that describe all the shit that's been happening to this family. And Bedlam Hall is so much fun.
See, I can see that, yeah.
It's been described as a cross between the Addams Family and Downton Abbey. Mm-hmm. And I think that every time I've run it, everyone has had a hoot. But
I can see those games being good for conventions. It seems
they
like
are good for one-shots.
Yeah.
But they also have Dungeon World, which is a replacement for a fantasy. I think that is a horrible idea. Yeah. Because this is not replicating the fantasy experience all that well.
It's too simple. Look up essentially like a 3-tier or 4-tier, whatever it is, result system just ain't gonna cut it.
Right.
I mean, it's just not gonna cut it.
Another fun one is a game called Cartel, which the characters are all members of like a Walter White type story, and I mean that is a lot of fun too. So I think
I like Outgunned, the one that our mutual friend ran for us last year, and I immediately went and bought.
So those guys, Two Little Mice, and that's a little Italian company. They have put out Household, which is a game where you play like the Littles. Do you remember the cartoon of little people living in the house? They were like little.
I feel like I should, but
it was an '80s cartoon. It was called the Littles, but it was like little mouse people or little people that lived in a house.
If they're mice, and I sort of remember.
They weren't mice. I mean, it was like.
Maybe I'm thinking it was the night before Christmas.
Well, yeah, so I with like the clock tower and they were people with tails, like they were little fairy people. I don't know, but it was little. So Household is the lives of these individuals that live in this house.
Okay.
And you're dealing with rats and the snakes and the big people that are doing. It's not really my thing, but it is kind of neat. But they also have a pulp adventure version with the Outgunned system, and they're coming out with a super system probably this year.
I ran for my one-shot this past year. I run a Halloween one-shot, like a horror one-shot, and this year it was an 80s action movie with kind of like a horror twist to it, using that Outgunned system. Oh. It worked just fine with it.
You know, it's funny, 2 years ago at Gen Con, I was talking to one of the guys at Two Little Mice, and they're both Italian. And the one guy was like, I forget how it came up, but he's like, yes, my uncle, he is a cardinal. And I'm like, oh, the Catholic Church? And he's like, well, yes. And he's like, he is very popular and rather young, and there's a possibility that he is being discussed as the next Holy Father. I'm like, oh, well, that's really neat. 2 years later, well, I guess that didn't happen, did it? I guess they picked somebody else. But it was really neat to see this guy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, does your uncle know that you're into RPGs? Is your uncle cool with it?
Yeah.
Well, of course. The uncle isn't.
It's a cool little system. Like I could have done without some of the flower language. Like there was some part about why can't Meryl Streep be president? I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
That's weird.
I'm just gonna pretend like I didn't read that.
Outgunned is really fun. I mean,
but it is a fun game for like playing at conventions or one shots or little maybe 2-session adventures.
Yeah. So for all your listeners out there, Outgunned, if you're looking for kind of an 80s action movie, A-Team, it would absolutely replicate A-Team. It would even replicate like Smokey and the Bandit if you were trying to do some kind of cannonball run. And if you some kind of just octane excitement, boobs and guns and car chases and cars jumping out of planes, cars jumping into planes. I mean, it would do that.
There's a good system with that. Characters are almost nigh indestructible, but there is a chance they can be taken out of action. But for these kind of games, that's what you'd want. This isn't like your regular D&D.
This is the shift from hit points to sort of like story points, action points kind of stuff. Yeah. And D&D hit points, so the armor class hit point leveling system does not work for some of these kind of games that you want to go with. Because you want people to get beat up pretty easily. I mean, how tedious would it be if you ran a spy game where it was like, okay, well, Blofeld has 77 hit points.
Oh, he's down. But wait, he heals. He's got a syringe there, so he heals 10 hit points.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I mean, did you ever play Top Secret, the old Top Secret? Not Top Secret SI.
I had it. I don't know if I ever ran it because I went.
That was complicated as fuck.
And plus, as we both know, I went right to the better game, James Bond.
Yes, the problem with James Bond, and I love James Bond, but the problem with James Bond is it was not set up to do more than like 2 players.
Yeah, which is perfect for me. We
Well,
didn't have a group. It was me and Gavin Morgan, and like
I always had
it was
4 or
like-
5 players, and
Yeah.
I tried to do that, and it was a fucking shit show. I was like, okay, well, here's the main character. Well, I'm gonna all these people doing
it's like,
shit.
yeah, you
It's-
can't.
Goldfinger has like 5 tables set up with the laser. I expect you to die. I expect you to die. I expect you to die. I mean,
I'm just going to put in a short tank
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So,
the Barracuda with lasers.
what is your opinion on? Because I think this is always one of the most underrated mechanics, and if you could paste it on top of any traditional D&D style game, and that is the vitality point, wound point system. I always was a fan of that.
I'm going to go to a really deep cut. You might not know this. Maybe you do. Maybe I'll bet you there are some listeners that know this system. There was a guy, Rich Tukolka, who was from Michigan. So he was kind of like Gygax removed. I think that he was a bit young. Rich passed away a few years ago, but he had a game called Stalking the Night Fantastic, which was later renamed, thank goodness, because that name is terrible, to Bureau 13. And he had a
I think
game
I've heard
called
of Bureau 13.
Fringeworthy and what was the other? He had a couple in the line, and they all used this hyper simulist system. Now, when you talk about vitality points, these games would have things like I roll to shoot you. I roll to see where in your body I hit. Your arm, your leg, your head. Head. Okay. Did I hit in the ear, the nose, the mouth? And then you're rolling for these granular, and the gun stats were the most research, where it's like a book of 70 pistols. And it's like, you know what? I'm not a gun guy. A pistol is a fucking pistol as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
With a role-playing game.
Right.
A rifle is a rifle. And I've played with some dudes who've been like, oh no, you know what, dude? A pistol's a goddamn pistol as far as we're concerned.
In game terms, yeah, in these kind of games, you can get a little hyper realistic.
I bring up the Tukolka stuff only because I have a problem with this deep granularity.
Mm-hmm.
The same way that I kind of... Now, the vitality I have a much different opinion on, because I sort of appreciate the concept of as your main health goes down, it sort of affects the other things. Well, that's very simulationist. And
to me, it's in that nice middle zone, where like, okay, what do hit points really represent? Well, it's cuts and it's bruises and it's near misses. Oh, until you're at 0, and then it's like complete health failure or a mortal wound. This is like, this kind of bifurcates that and says, well, that's what your vitality points are. It's all that stuff. However, you get a critical hit, or you're down to 0 on the vitality, then you get right into your wounds. Now you are getting hit. Now it's easy to kind of like picture like, oh yeah, I guess I am kind of.
Anyone in the chat can think about, and again, I'm assuming everyone here at least understands D&D or the F20 games, where it's fantasy and you're rolling d20s, the concept of levels and hit points. So at 7th level, your fighter has 70 hit points. In a fight, are you actually envisioning, oh yeah, I have 17 arrows sticking out of me. I have 36 cuts from... No! I mean, you have to... Or are you actually envisioning your character's a pincushion with arrows?
Yeah.
Or are your guts hanging out? I think that many of us don't really think that deeply. I, as a GM, usually say, he hits you for 17 points. Well, maybe he didn't hit you. Maybe he hit the concrete behind you, which blasted you a bit with... He's taking away some of your vitality, some of your...
Yeah. You're getting ground down.
You're getting ground down. As opposed to, he has hit you. Otherwise, at the end of these fights, people look like Freddy Krueger victims... And I just don't see that
burn word.
Yeah, I just don't see that as the case. I'm curious if anyone in the chat has a similar or different thought.
Yeah, just seeing if...
How many do we have in the chat? Are they still with us?
I got 51. We're holding strong there. Yeah.
I have noticed, incidentally, as someone who, unfortunately, I have to listen to you late after you're done or the following morning.
Yeah.
I have noticed and I have these numbers in my mind, where 2 years ago, your average viewers, by the time I would watch 70, 80, 90, your average viewers are 180, 200 by Thursday morning. That's pretty good. Your channel's
we're
growing.
getting live viewers on YouTube is in that, like you said, in the 180 to 200 range, which is always good.
That's healthy.
But what I like too is that there's a lot of people now going over on Rumble, which I simul stream to, and those numbers have been climbing too. We're kind of in the 30s there. So any number you see on YouTube, just add some 30,
15%.
Yeah. So it's good. There is sort of a ceiling, I think, to maybe this type of content, but I do kind of branch out a little bit, especially on Wednesdays. We talk about just kind of cultural stuff and maybe just funny stuff or life stuff too. That's why people always like pigeonhole themselves. It's the biggest mistake you can make on YouTube is just kind of pigeonholing yourself into just one thing. Now, YouTube will punish you if you go too far outside your comfort zone for your audience, because they're trying to find you your audience. These are the people that like you for what you think about D&D.
I understand that there's a YouTube algorithm, which is some kind of monstrous, terrible thing. And
it's not terrible. It's just the algorithm is just trying to find you your audience.
But let's say that you did a podcast or a YouTube show on the Muppets. Okay, let's just pick something very specific, the Muppets. And every week you were talking about Muppet this, Muppet that, what if Muppets.
Channel would tank.
But the point is that like there's an audience for that content.
Yeah, it would tank for a while until the algorithm understood, okay, you're trying to fend off your old audience and you're trying to get a new one. Then it would start to slowly send you the Muppet people. And then those people would have to want to watch your stuff and immediately watch your videos the first day. The first day for a YouTube video is the most important, because basically that determines whether YouTube's going to send it out to the next rung of people. And that's why your core audience has to like what you're doing.
So if you were a cynical person who was going to tell someone, if you're going to start a YouTube channel, what is the thing that you go on about? Politics, cooking, movie reviews, TV reviews? I mean, what do you think would be the thing that would get you the most bang for your buck?
Well, I mean, here's the thing though. You can't be insincere. Like, I had 40 whatever years playing RPGs and that. There's very few things I could do a YouTube channel on. I could do it on this.
Accounting.
Yeah, not hardly that even.
But that would be. But you would know that. But that would be boring.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like I'm a huge like old school Mystery Science Theater.
Okay.
Like I used to watch those all the time. I know all those episodes. I could probably do some sort of MST channel, but I don't know what the audience would be.
There is one of those episodes that takes place in my hometown.
Yeah, it's the
Teenage Strangler.
Teenage Strangler. Yeah, I remember you mentioned that. But yeah,
I've heard you talk about this, by the way, and I have a serious problem with your position on this. I am much more of a Joel guy.
You like Joel? Yeah.
Joel, I'm the OG guy. The last Joel episode is Mitchell. And Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Mitchell is one of the funniest episodes.
It's a great one. Yeah.
You and I would run the South Side. That old. I mean,
there's some great.
That
Joel
movie is so stupid.
Yeah, the best Joel episodes, like the further along they went, the better they got. So like by the year he left, all those episodes were really good.
I loved the episodes that had like the little black and white movies, or like the things they would show you in school if you were in
the
60s.
shorts.
The shorts.
Yeah.
Oh, those were so funny.
Mike's sense of humor is a little bit more like mine. That's all. Joel was a little more esoteric, but he could still be funny.
Did you ever see like the Netflix cuts of those?
I did. I tried to like them. I tried to give them a chance, but it's not the same. You can never go home.
I watched a few. I did like Patton Oswalt as the replacement for Dr. Forrester.
The guy who killed his wife and got away with it.
I don't think he did that. I don't think so.
Here, honey, have this Starbucks.
Well,
I'm just gonna go. Enjoy.
Regardless, I mean, your views of Patton Oswalt aside, everything I see him in, I do find kind of funny. Did you?
Well, he used to be. He's another one of these guys that has ruined his. Everybody loved Patton Oswalt up to a point, and then he started to spurg out about Trump all the time, and then he turned off half of his fucking audience.
Did you ever see? Did you ever watch Parks and Recreation?
Yes, but only the first couple seasons.
There's an episode with him where then there's a cut scene, and the cut scene is hysterical, where he goes to filibuster a city council meeting, and he's like, it starts out, okay, everyone, here's what we're going to do. We're going to explain how the Marvel universe hooks in with the Star Wars universe. Now, and he starts and they cut it after about 30 seconds. There is a 10-minute cut of him just nattering on about how Marvel can link up with Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. It is so funny.
Well, that's the kind of stuff people used to like him for.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they don't want to hear his political opinions because they don't need to hear his.
They don't need to hear.
Opinions.
That's
why people, yeah.
But I did like him as the Forrester character.
Well,
and I liked, what was the chick's name who was the
Felicia
Day.
Yeah.
I don't like her, but I thought she was funny as the underling, TV's Frank.
Yeah, I didn't.
Or maybe she was Forrester.
She was Forrester.
Yeah.
He was the son of TV's Frank.
Right.
Yeah,
She was Forrester.
In a vacuum, the concept was okay, but it just wasn't. It committed the unpardonable sin of just not being very
right.
funny.
I watched about 4 episodes and was like, yeah, these are okay. Honey, do you want to watch the next one? Maybe later.
Yeah, it was ones instead of like laughing or chuckling out loud like I would in a good Mike or even Joel episode, I just find myself whenever there was a good one, and they were few and far between, like a good joke, I just kind of smile like, yeah. I met Ray. What's his name? Ray. Jonah Ray, is that his name? I don't know. Whatever his fucking name is. The new host.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I met him at a live show in Cleveland, and he looks so tired. I think Joel was dragging. It was when they were promoting that first season, and they were just going everywhere promoting it with these live shows, and he looks so tired. I felt so bad for him.
The problem with a show like that, though, is the internet is scooping you.
Yeah.
I mean, that is tired old media of a bunch of dudes in a row with some robots sitting around making fun of Mitchell. I mean,
yeah, it's no longer
relevant.
Yeah, they're
that's sad.
Victim of their own success.
Yeah.
They were one of the first ones, and then now I did see Shout had a Kickstarter for 4 episodes of because Joel's done. He did like a couple 2 or 3 seasons, and then he tried to kickstart another one, and people had finally noped out on the new host. They were just like, all right, it's not done. But Shout, I think, took it back from from Joel. So they're doing 4 episodes with Mike, Bill Corbett, and Kevin Murphy.
Oh, that's good.
The old sci-fi era cast.
Yeah.
They're doing 4 episodes. They're rebuilding the sets, and they even said, because that's one thing, like Joel is, he's just too much of a gizmo guy, like a techno guy. We need to explain, where the movies come from. It comes from this liquid ooze.
Yeah.
Everybody's just probably like,
it doesn't
matter. What the fuck are you talking about? This doesn't matter. It's like, it's just get him in the theater and start telling jokes. So I think he was, he kind of went off the rails always there, especially in the new ones. But now they're going back and they're like, yeah, we're doing it in Minnesota. We're building the sets like we did before. We're just going to have a set. We're going to do it. And then, we're going to watch the movies like old. And I'm like, you know what? I might be in, when your sense of humor when you're in your 30s or even 40s is a lot different than when you're in your 60s.
That show was so great for people in the 90s or so. I remember watching it prior to my gaming group, starting the game, where it's like, okay, people are showing up, we're going to watch some of this. Mm-hmm. Or the game would end and we would all put in that, and that was part of the zeitgeist experience of our game group. Of course, so was Denny's at midnight or 1 a.m. That was also part of our experience. Yeah. And I'm sure many people in the game, the chat, have a similar diner that they would go to.
We would, like, our games, we would start at like 7 sometimes, and then sometimes we'd play till like 3 in the morning. Now it's like we start at 9. Like everybody comes over like 8:30. We start at 9 and we're done by like 12:30. So we're like 3.5 hours.
So my games typically go from 7 to 11.
About the same as ours. Yeah.
When I was in college, I had a Supers game every Saturday that would start at noon and go until about midnight.
Oh, 12 hours.
That was every Saturday
Yeah.
for about 3 years. Now, occasionally we would, since it was Saturday, we would end at about 10:30, and often we would, because Rocky Horror Picture Show, the place that showed it was not too far from where we lived, so we would walk over there. So we would go to Rocky Horror about twice a month, but I would run Supers for about 12 hours on Saturdays, and it would be like 3 adventures, and I mean, in one, I mean, I was a workhorse when it came to Supers, and I had people coming and going, and there was a main cast, and there were some, but it was college. Fucking everything goes in college. But anyway,
Yeah. What I think back when after I first met my wife, and that first group was like, hey, we need a DM. So we're talking 1991. That group, yes, there were times like we'd start at like 6, and then I remember one time distinctly because my wife was not mad, but she was worried because I didn't get home till like 3 or 4 in the morning. We just battle after battle and like all this shit. No, we got to keep going. We got to keep going. And it's
I
like,
remember there was one thing. I forget what we were doing.
that was before she started playing, by the way.
We started in the evening, and I called the game when I heard the newspaper thump on the door, and like, oh shit.
Is it 5 a.m.
It's
already?
like 5 a.m. So that was its own thing. So I know that we probably don't have a whole lot of time left because you wanted to end
15
at
minutes.
9. So what topics do we have to get out about Origins, or if the audience needs to know in the next 15 minutes? What sort of wrap?
It's hard because I can't rightly say I'll be here next year, and you might be, but at
probably
least
will.
your lovely wife ain't
No.
probably gonna be because she's had it.
Although, I mean, I see signs that this con is growing and getting more professional. One of the things I loved about this con for the past 25 years is it felt very mom and pop. It felt like the other people in the position I was in, we were brothers and sisters in a dysfunctional family. There are some people we all hate who work here, who we wonder how have we not drummed this person out. But I have made some very dear friends over the past 25 years here, and because again, it was very mom and pop. We would hang out. They would take us places sometimes. Back in the old days, they took us to Vegas a week and a half before Gamma Trade Show.
Wow.
We would plan Origins in February, and it was just, that's the way it worked. But it has become more and more professional, and I think that you look around this year and you can see where they are moving in a much more professional direction. I think they want to look more like Gen Con. I bet over the next 2 or 3 years, the position that I have now is eliminated. I bet they consolidate that to smaller groups. I bet they hire contractors, temps or something. And I bet you will start to see more partnerships with big companies. And again, that's good and bad.
Yeah.
That's good in the sense that the convention
Trying
is
to get a little bit more like Gen Con, probably, would you say?
sure, but this cannot grow. I mean, folks, Gen Con gets about 75,000 people by their admission, whatever that. I think that's about.
I've heard
right.
as high as 80.
I think it's about right. Origins is going to tell you they get 18 or 20. I think they get about 12. I think Origins plays with the numbers a little bit, but I think Origin gets about 12 or 13,000 people, which is significant.
Yeah.
I think that PAX exploded onto the scene. PAX has more people than Origin. Origins used to be the number 2 convention in the country. PAX is now the number 2 convention in the country. For Gen Con is still number 1. Origins is 3, maybe even 4 at this point. And Origins has been slipping. And remember, Origins is the convention that debuted Tomb of Horrors. Origins 1 or Origins 2 in Baltimore. And I have a coworker in the system who was at Origins 2.
Oh,
This guy's old.
Yeah.
He's old and he's a bit of a nut. but he was at Baltimore for Origins 2, and he played Tomb of Horrors. So yeah.
Well, I would always see the ads, in like Dragon or Dungeon, probably mostly Dragon, just for Origins. Be like, oh man.
Origins used to travel around the country. It'd be a
Yeah.
different city each year. And then probably 97, 98, they settled in Columbus wisely, I think.
Yeah, yeah. It's probably a good home for him. The problem is, it's at the wrong stage, I guess, of my gaming journey. If, 6 or 7 years ago, when I was, for lack of a better word, just kind of a normie, gamer, this might have had a ton of appeal. But now it's like, I don't know. I got the channel, and it's hard not to ignore all the bullshit that some of these companies are doing, because they really do have a vindictive hatred in some cases of their core audience. You can't deny it. I mean, when they're so open about their disdain for white people, white people getting out of the hobby, and all of these posts that I've uncovered on Twitter and other places where they just drip venom. I'm the kind of person that I can't get past that and ignore it. So all I'm saying is that leads me down a path of, okay, maybe I'm not, all in on this, even though as my, appearance here will show you, I'm not averse to coming to these, but my path is more, a little bit more kind of like the CNY con, like I went to last week.
Whereas I can certainly, and much as I'm angry at Gamma and Origins these days, I'll still defend it to a certain level.
Sure.
But where I'll jump back into your camp is, based upon your tastes, North Texas and CNY are probably just more fun for you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
they are smaller, they're a little bit more intimate, and they are doing the things that you want to do. Yeah. And Origins, there are games that you would absolutely have a blast doing, but you also might find some stinkers. You also might not want to do this or this or this. And it's probably cheaper for you to get hotels and food at North Texas and at CNY.
Yeah.
Columbus ain't cheap, folks. I encourage you to come to Origins, but save some money. Because the hotel situation is what it is. And
yeah, I'll be upfront. We saved a day this year. Last year we came in on Wednesday.
You came in on Thursday this year.
Came in on Thursday, saved a day. The hotel with everything for 3 nights, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. It's like $1,000, a little over $1,000. So, I paid more at Gen Con.
Sure,
I paid a lot more at Gen Con.
Yeah,
probably like at some years 3 times just to be downtown, because that's the game.
I get my hotel comped at Gen Con.
You sly dog, you. Yeah, well, and they always run out of space, and it's run by retards who don't know how to run their hotel block. I mean, that's a different story. But
I don't know what to say. I mean,
I have been in that fucking hotel block for probably. I've probably been to 10 Gen Cons, and I have never ever gotten a hotel in that.
There's 75,000 people that want 25,000 rooms.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah. By statistics, especially early on, every 3 years, I should get a room, but I never did. And I was like, fine. So I'd always have to go off the books and, pay through the nose to get a hotel downtown.
What if the lower badge numbers got higher priority? Well, the problem with that would be that's older people, not younger people. However, older people,
fine with me.
Older people have the money.
Money, yeah. I keep trying to explain that. People, we're trapped in this 1960s world where they were like, we got to go after the youth mode. They got all this disposable income. And it's like, I'm always like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, it's guys my age that have a ton of disposable income.
And again, some of our closing thoughts here. I think that is one of the greatest sins of Wizards, is that you're going after the crowd that you think is hip and youthful and wants furries as characters. And that segment of gamer exists, but they've also looked at D&D Beyond stats, which is a pretty good measure of stats. The average campaign is about 7 sessions long. I was
going to say 6 weeks, yeah.
The average level is 5 and 6. But they also see the races that are picked, It's the goofy, furry races and so forth. So they're looking at this game saying, who are the people that are playing? And they are trying to placate those people. I get it, but you can also be a leader and try to bring people in with more mature content. But again, this is a whole.
Is it a chicken and egg thing too? Like, are they making their own audience after a while, or do they think
I
they
don't
were
know.
just responding to it?
There is a good debate for that.
Yeah,
I think
maybe. Like I said, maybe next time.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, yeah. We will. We'll definitely do this with at least a couple times a year. Okay, yeah, it's probably a good time to get out. So it's
We are
9:25.
far less drunk than we were last year.
I have it all.
Success.
I have an all-day Twilight Imperium game tomorrow.
Oh,
I can't.
all right. So we're going to talk about this once we're done. I'll tell you about my Twilight Imperium game over Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
I rocked the fucking house with these guys.
Did you win?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I played Twilight every Memorial Day weekend for the past 8 years. The first 2
That's what
years,
we played last.
I won a drought. This year, we
steamrolled them.
normally it takes us 10 hours to play. We were done in a quick 6 this year. But I'll tell you about that in a few
Boat
minutes.
raced it. All right, guys. Thank you guys very, very much. Yep. Post a Popcap says great chat. Double D and Hastermind. Yep. Cal, good to see you. Yeah, we yes, like I said, sorry, I could not mind the chat and carry the conversation, so that's where Crazy Mouse comes in handy. So
Bless him.
yes, God bless
Bless
Crazy
his
Mouse.
soul.
Yep. And Rogan too.
Rogan, too.
And Zolt.
Rogan, Zolt, Crazy Mouse, if you're listening to this,
Yep.
hi, and thank you for running a great
We
show.
love
every
you.
week.
Do the old deaf person shout out. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna go get out in time for. I'm sure Black Lodge or somebody is starting to stream. So you guys,
Have fun.
yep, go on over there. Take care.
Consider Origins in the future.
There you go. There you go. It's an all right convention. Like I said, it definitely has some good points and some mediocre points. But don't ever be afraid. Just because somebody
Try
tells
it.
you, I don't know. All I say is your mileage may vary. So if you want to do it, fine, and if not, fine too. Nobody's going to judge you. So, but I do love seeing this guy at Origins every year. So, yeah, we will talk to you guys later. I may do like a walking around
should.
stream, just so you guys can kind of see the vendor hall and everything. I always do that to kind of give you a bird's eye view.
God bless you, Condor.
Yeah, if you're watching, Steven, thank you. God, that guy. All right, guys, love you. We'll talk soon. And thank you for all the super chats. You guys are great. All right, see you guys.